Hastings forward, they've gone tall. Ryder, Hill, Hurley. So James Hird stacking the forward line early, Brian.
And Cremery, who plays tall down there as well. Up they go. Nat Nui, big leap over Bell Chambers in the middle, perhaps saying something in this contest. Free kick will go the way of the Eagles.
Well, I like the way they start. Cox forward, Nat Nui in the ruck. He's their best clearance ruckman.
Kerr long to Lacroix. They go. Bombers defence swarm on that aerial contest.
And vice versa. Cox their best forward ruckman.
Absolutely. Hardingham got it out very quickly. Here's Embley, a man in form as well. Lynch has been very, very good for the Eagles this year. Thumps it high. They come. Kick will go back, though. So that contest won't count. The umpire asks it. In fact, it's out of bounds over there on the half-forward flank for the Eagles, so over boundary throw-in. Bombers looking for a third position spot on the ladder after this game, and the Eagles hoping to claw their way in the 8.
Heath Hocking running with Pritis. And we've got Selwood on Watson, so both coaches opting for defence. In fact, it's Scott Selwood on Watson.
Bell Chambers, the third man up in that ruck contest. Kerr went in really hard and got it out. Good to see him back as well and playing good football. McCoskey on the heels of Fletcher.
You're surprised at that, BT, that both coaches opting for defence on the respective playmakers, Watson and Pritis?
Absolutely, Jared. And indeed. Another boundary throw in
big
here.
Shepherd out on that.
He gets it, plays on immediately, goes it to Rosa. Rosa wasn't quite ready for the handball, but he sent it to Kennedy anyway. Over the back, Nikoski, soccer off the ground, missed. Didn't quite get a piece of it as he would have liked. So just a little sloppy in the opening here.
Well, he had a bit more time and space there. He could have picked it up, but he's such a gifted player. You expect him to convert these.
Just got it off the instep. Turned the ball more back inside than he would have hoped. Nikoski jumping on top of Watson.
There's Mark Lacroix there just to the right of screen. He kicked 12 goals, of course, in round 16 against the Bombers last time. Henry Slattery, his direct opponent.
Yep, the most goals kicked by an individual in that season. Nat Nui up with his leap. Fletcher's kick was smothered. Kerr's in there. He got one high. Lovett Murray's been pinged.
And 50 from Joe Watson throwing the ball on the ground. Yep. That'll be debated, I'm sure, because the player he was supposed to give it was also on the ground. Maybe he's expected just to sit there and wait for him to get up off the ground, but a pretty tough one.
So Kerr will go back. He doesn't even wait for the man on the mark to get back in position. He comes in, kicks the goal, and the Eagles have got the first against the Bombers.
You see the Essendon players there remonstrating, but the free kick was definitely there, just the remonstration. You see the high tackle there. It was always there, but just Joe Watson throwing the ball down.
What do you think of this one, Beats? Spud, he gets the ball, he drops it on the ground, basically beside him, because he wants to go and position himself. There it is.
That's not, for mine, that's not a 50. I think he just rolled it in front of Daniel Kerr to see where he was. Pretty tough.
Yeah.
Very tough, actually.
Well, Kerr gets the first goal. Have another look at that 50-metre penalty in just a moment when we get a chance.
Interesting, in the pre-match we talked about the importance of centre bounces. Well, Eagles won the first and the ball hasn't been in Essendon's forward line yet.
Exactly. Embley to Nat Nui around the corner. High ball. Lynch gets in the front position. Did really well. Now Kennedy on Heppel. Did well. Ebert on the spin. Hooker with a sticking tackle. It was great, wasn't it? Advantage now. You heard the umpire. Bell Chambers fires it off. Howlett running through the middle. There's Zaharakis. A running bounce. Doesn't he do this a lot? Thought about going wide. He wants Cremery to come at him. Eventually he does, and he finds him.
Great defence by Darren Glass, just to hold them up, give them an opportunity.
There's Hurley. Through the jukes, couldn't quite hold it. Jetta did well. Melksham.
Was it planned?
Absolutely. That was deliberate. It was good stuff.
Melksham goes short and backwards to Lovett Murray. The umpire said you ran off the line, so now he has to concede yardage to Fletcher, but that's okay. Hooker. Now Hardingham, the boy from Coaching up in Western Australia. Kyle Hardingham, long ball at the back. Hurley got the claws on it, couldn't get it. Here's Fletcher, they're away. Look at the counter-attack. This is going to be intriguing today. Cox over the top, as Danny Frawley mentioned. Embley, McVeigh with the run-down tackle. The disposal was legal, said umpire Margetts. So play continues. Lovett Murray's got to knock it out, or he's going to be pinged there. And Dean Margetts has got him. In fact, it's gone the other way. No, it's gone against Lovett Murray. There you go. You hear the umpire. You dived on first. You sucked it in and you didn't let it out.
Jack Darling coming up with a free kick. It's been one of the great things about this kid coming into the game. We know he's a very good attacking player, kicks it, marks it well, but geez, he tackles and chases.
Well, this is confidence, Jared. He starts his run up at the middle of the ground. Zeki is going to go for goal. In he goes and missed him. Howlett takes the mark. Heppel.
And that's where they don't want to turn it over at that 40-metre mark. They've got to get it in deeper, because once they do, it stays in.
What about the run of the big men already in this game? Hill and Cox and Nat Nui, Bell Chambers. Good ball, goes inside 50 for the Bombers. That's a clean pair of hands from Crammery.
He's a beautiful grab. He's a hard matchup.
Now the umpire said he's a run around on the mark. Plays on now. Kick at goal is just to the left-hand side. And a minor score only.
Well,
bit tough.
I'd like to see that. I mean, if it's a left footer, they're entitled to go round on the natural angle, and that's all he was doing.
Let's have a look at this now.
He takes the mark. And then he just goes back. There's the man. The mark hasn't moved at all.
And I reckon he's gone out to the left and then he's come back on the mark. That's an incorrect call.
It is. That's an incorrect call.
Really tough
all
one.
All he was doing was opening up the line between the goal umpire and the man and the mark.
Yep. And he made sure he went out towards the boundary line first.
Good defence here by the Bombers. No options other than to go long.
And he does that. Cox and Darling all in the pack, and Heppel kept them honest. Prittis got driven in the back.
It's a great front and square piece of roving, if we still use that terminology, Danny. It seems
we still. I like it, Jared. I like it.
Nikoski. Lynch has got to go. Lovett Murray says, "I'll go at you." Stanton. Gee, that's horrible. Handball would have been on there, and a lot more effective and direct. Lovett Murray making it work though. Into Stanton, who just chisels it on the head of Ryder, a little bit deep for him, and Crammery at the back using the bulk. Clever tap on by Ryder to Watson, pursued by Selwood. You can already feel that this game has got an intensity about it. Let's have a look at this 50-metre penalty earlier in the game when Kerr was driven into the ground. Fair enough. Watson just puts the ball near him. No, went too far to the left. It's got to go back directly. Bell Chambers.
Good vision.
Stanton is the one that had the good vision, said Jared Healy. Heppel kept his feet. Did it well. Bombers pressing here. Here's Reimers. Was very good last week. Caught with the ball. Too high.
Bombers pressing, but Eagles pressure enormous.
Reimers chiseling ball to Bell Chambers.
It was. Spotted him up, and Bell Chambers' height has exposed him because he got forward and wasn't being manned up.
Dean Cox was looking at Ryder and Hill and Hurley, and he forgot about his direct opponent in Bell Chambers, Jerry.
This has got a cracking contest written all over it. It's got a sense of urgency from both mobs and a sense of equalness. In comes Bell Chambers, kick the goal. The Bombers get there first.
Yeah, all signs are that we've got a cracker here, Danny. Both sides pressing up hard, both sides putting their best foot forward in front of the goals. I thought it was a bit stiff by Nat Nui. Let's take another look. Well, the kick, you know, was first class. And Bell Chambers showing why he's so highly regarded at Essendon.
He starts in the ruck now. You've got Hill and Ryder pushing forward, and he's the #1 ruckman for the Bombers at the moment.
Bell Chambers gets the first goal apiece. Bombers by a point.
Going with a double in the middle now with Nat Nui, the nominated ruck rower, if you like, and Cox, the ruckman.
Good luck, Sam Lonigan there. And there he is. He got it and got the clearance as well. So height means little, Jared. In the middle.
Yeah, not a big rap for the double ruckman move, BT. I love Nat Nui in and I love Cox in, but together I reckon they get beaten at ground level.
Pressure's hot in this one. Rose up, quick thinking out wide, and now Ebert. His non-preferred left side, got it in the hands there of Shuey, who kept it alive. Not quite, though, for Kennedy. And he has been in some very good form this year as well.
Just watching McGrath, Brian, he's moved to the wing versus Melksham. He's getting a little bit of space at the moment. He's a dangerous man to give space to.
And it's a double Selwood tag on Joe Watson. Scott in the middle and Adam in the forward line.
Here is Selwood, and that is of the Scott variety, having a ping.
And there's Scott. And at the other end of the ground, Adam is playing full-back on Joe Watson, who's playing essentially full forward, although pushing up now for the defensive press out of the kick-ins. And they did that too easily.
Yeah, Howler.
Especially through the middle.
Now the run. Hooker just ran into the wall that was Ebert. And now they've got a 2-on-1, so the Eagles a chance. Shuey picks it up from 50, hammers it home. It's got the legs, it's offline. Hardingham marks it just on the behind line.
The numbers out here, the Bombers. They're going to attack through here.
He's been good, Hardingham. Melksham, boy from the Calder Cannons Football Factory down there with Marty Ellison and Ian Kite as he gives it off there to Hocking. Drives it long on that familiar left foot. High ball, Watson. Here's the fast-booted Reamers. Reamers in the conventional white boots these days, out of bounds on the full.
Well, that was the first chance to see Selwood as full back and Watson as full forward, and at this stage, nil all draw. Which is a win to the full backs, but I see you ticking it off.
A little bit of a tick there, and of course Kyle Reamers kicking 8 last week at a PB. There's going to be a lot of heat on him today.
Sam Butler with the free here. Game number 70 for Butler. One of those unassuming sort of West Coast players that you don't often talk much about.
Just gets the job done, Brian.
Indeed he does. Kick high. Look at Darling, strong in the air. Boys, this guy got some jukes.
Great protection too from Nat Nui against David Hill there.
Interesting comparison, Spud, between the two sides. Handball to kick ratio and marks. Essendon dominating in marks, but it's essentially because they are kicking the ball, chipping the ball, whereas the Eagles are handballing the ball.
What about the fly from Kennedy then? Come up with nothing, but it almost stuck. Look at this. Watson's got to beat 4 of them. 5 on 2 it was in the end, West Coast way.
So just to give a bit more clarity on that, they've had 39 and 37 possessions respectively. Essendon's had 23 kicks, Eagles 15. Essendon have had 16 handballs, Eagles 22, but the marks is the interesting one where it's 13-3.
Watson off for a spell, as you can see there. Cox comes off, and Nikoski down there has got a hit to the head, I think, David King, has he? Looks like it.
Yeah, he has. He's bleeding profusely from just above the eye, Brian.
Yep, so he'll get some attention, some staples, bit of Vass, and be back out there shortly.
He's a clearance freak, Nat Nui. Got a lot of upside for this young bloke when he's got another 50 or so games under his belt, because his understanding of the game will be even greater.
Look at the medicos go to work there. There's hands everywhere. They know exactly what they're doing. They're well drilled on this sort of thing. He'll be back out there in a minute or two. Marvellous work by the Bomber medicos.
Scott Selwood.
The Eagle medicos, I'm sorry. Nikoski, Nat Nui over the top.
You still heard too, Melton, that tackle up from Scott Selwood. That was a terrific tackle, bone crunchy.
Nat Nui over the top. Heppel standing in the way here over the back. Did really well, Slattery there, knowing that he would have been tackled immediately to get it to the boundary. Let's have a look at the Nikoski injury and how he got that hit above the eye here. You can just see an errant arm there in from the side from Howard, I think it was.
Have a look at the tackle here from Scott Selwood. Just a bone-crunching tackle. Came straight off the ground too, David King.
Yeah, he's all right, boys. He's just going for a wander in front of me, absolutely gasping for air. That's his problem.
Well, it's been a hot pace, Kingy, hasn't it?
It has been a very physical contest too, and I think the Bombers have come up a gear, lads.
Critis to Hearn. Didn't have the sure hands. Here's Hocking. And that's a good case of using the head. That is a classic case of him putting the head down, trying to burrow through the oncoming traffic and get a free, and the umpire didn't fall for it. Have a look at this. Keeps the head down once it's down, and then lowers it again.
Spot on, BT. Good pick up.
Well done by the umpires. Kerr. Hill, crunch on Darling. Watson just said, I want it.
There's that sweeper that needs to be picked up by the Eagles, because that generates this attack. Kyle Hooker just lurking there by himself, and Watson feeding it out.
Ryder. Good body position. McVeigh on his left boot. Here it is, the little chiseler. Bell Chambers. The stretching mark.
He's changed with Hill in the ruck, so he's gone forward already, Bell Chambers. It's a great luxury, isn't it, to have your ruckman being able to rest forward and take the big mark.
And at the same time, have your third string ruckman take a mark on the wing to connect up the pieces.
Bell Chambers goes short, and now he gets to Watson. Watson plays on because he doubts the journey, and he just goes bang and gets the goal. Bombers have got their second.
Great goal there. Great thinking, Bell Chambers to Watson. But 2 errors from West Coast. One, didn't guard the space Watson was in. We know he's the leading possession getter, as we see the ball come through the middle of the ground here, Ryder, as you talked about, Jared. The big ruckman, There we go, McVeigh to Bellchambers. Now, Bellchambers marks the ball. I think West Coast just assume he's going to have a shot. There's Joe Watson. That's error one. And then Prittis lays off and Darling man the mark. That is inexcusable. Two errors. Two simple errors that really would frustrate John Worsfold.
Bombers 2 in a row. The skipper steps to the line and gets his first with some smart thinking and decisive play. Down the ground, cameras getting a good look at it today. Battle in the middle is going to be epic. That time, Ryder and Cox. There's Embley.
Should have been a handball.
Under pressure. Shuey got some speed. Hurley gave up on it in the end. Kerr through traffic. Selwood. Scott Selwood here. Got the give and go. Back around the corner. High ball pack forms. Over the top came Lynch. He was searching for the second grab and couldn't find it. The big cue stick. Hooker had to knock it out. He did.
Good umpire.
And Fletcher, a soccer, will land straight in the hands of Will Schofield, the boy from Geelong College, via the Falcons with Mick Turner.
Darling just made a fantastic lead. He came round the back of the pack, dropped off his player, and then he was honoured by a brilliant kick.
That's the missing piece in the puzzle, guys. It's their first mark inside the forward 50. They've had plenty of opportunities, been inside forward 50 9 times. It's 7 marks inside 50 at the Bombers' end. So that's the difference.
It was great to watch, Darling. He demands the ball. He wants the ball in his hands, which you want from one of your forwards.
The bloke is getting lost down there, King. He's Mark Lafra. He's been well tagged by Slattery, but he really hasn't been anywhere near it.
No, he hasn't. They've moved him out of the way now to a half-forward flank.
Darling comes in and slots the ball home. And there's another one for the Eagles.
I guess the one opportunity Lacroix had was off the ground or out of the air, which he miscued. But this is just a brilliant piece of work by Darling. And, of course, Prittis, who set him up. In fact, it wasn't Prittis, it was Schofield, who just delivered a really good kick. Saw him early, got it over the head. And one thing we like about this kid, amongst many things we like about him, is his ability to convert. He knows where they are and he likes kicking them.
And there is Jack Darling. To me, he's got that presence about him too, Spud, you're right.
Daniel Kerr, he just cops a little bit of a head high here. He's had the 10 disposals already, Daniel Kerr. He's averaging 21 disposals per game, so he's well on the way to a 30 possession game.
Well, he couldn't have done much more there, Dean Cox. He just dropped it in front of Daniel Kerr, but you can just see how tightly he's being tagged. He wasn't able to burst through.
The veteran, umpire Hayden Kennedy, bouncing this one perfectly.
Oh, had to be a free kick for sure. Took the front spot. Good ruck work from Cox again in front. And Ryder, he's got some work to do.
So Cox with the free. And there is the task ahead. Try and find something in there. He goes for something very short, and it's Ebert. Ebert plays on, goes long.
Essendon numbers here.
Like this about modern footy, how they're kicking it long to a pack. Kennedy flew, couldn't get it. Nat Nui was looking to sell some foot candy on Fletcher. He's 36 years of age, and he will not fall for that.
You're right, Brian. The old Nat Nui tried the one over the top of Dustin. You can see Dusty just corrals him beautifully. Handball to yourself and tackle. That's holding the ball.
Opportunity now for Howlett. Clean takeaway from the stoppage, but not much offering. So he sort of puts it to the boundary line, hoping, but didn't want to make it look obvious. Lynch, the man with one of the biggest legs in the AFL.
And I think this is the reason why Kingy's stat is so prevalent. They love going long to big blokes, but you have to take mark of the year to drag a mark inside that forward 50, whereas at the other end they love deliberately 30-40 metre passes.
But as BT said, sides are not afraid to kick to a pack now, and that's why we're going to see some marks such as this. That is an unbelievable grab. Great athlete.
Nat Nui will line up. Difficult position on the ground here.
20 seconds.
Umpire indicating 20 seconds from when he sets the mark. So Nat Nui now needs to be straight. Wasn't. Still a chance for the Eagles here to conjure something up. Cox once again had both hands on it. You heard David King say the missing link. Marks inside 50. They're getting there and they're getting close. At the back door, Watson.
Now they're dangerous.
Lonigan, they closed down the space. The Eagles did
Good
well on that
tackle.
occasion. Smith.
Well, Ashley Smith, BT, recruited from Haileybury a couple of years ago. Played his best game for the club last week against Melbourne.
Is that a couple of wide plays, or is he just going to long bomb again?
Ashley Smith does that, Jared. Ryder couldn't get a leap at it. It was well held and bodied. It was good heckle. Melksham recovered from that heavy tackle earlier. Tries to pinpoint the kick to Crannery.
The reason why they kick the ball long and deep, as you talked about earlier on, they don't want a shallow turnover inside their forward 50. So kick the ball long 0 to 20, then you can get your press going and you get a boundary throw in such as this. So you kick short, you turn it over 45 out, it's rebound city.
Cox and Ryder. Oh, clever tap. Ebert just put up the hand and bang, straight to the chest of Ebert on the run. He was pinned though, the Bombers were ready. A lot of work would have been done surely on the stoppages this week with Ruckman in this game being so influential from both sides.
It's a really negative setup from both teams, isn't it? They don't. It's an Indian arm wrestle that no one wants to blink.
That was a knockout to Kerr. And Hocking. Slattery it is, in
He's
fact.
been good on the car, Brian.
Hook up. Bit of a loose kick, wasn't it?
It wasn't great. It got through.
Zaha Rakas has got it all to do. Can he beat the two of them? In they go. One of those is, on that occasion, Shepherd, and a high tackle. Shepherd, of course, brought into the side today, late withdrawal of McKenzie.
That was a good effort, though, by, who was it, Reimers. 2-on-1 situation. I thought he was going to knock him over.
Telling Butler that
This is a dangerous kick if Essendon get it.
Kennedy comes over the top once again, got both hands on it. No mark inside 50 again. Leroy Jetta, urgent in his attempts to extract the ball. Prittis did well, worked it forward. Heppel, excellent hands under enormous pressure. Melksham around the corner. And once again, Shepherd. To Glass. Look at the modern game of footy. Fullbacks playing up around the centre these days because of the press. Long kick out wide to Kennedy. That's a mark.
Beautiful kick. It's the only option he had because he went long down the middle. He had Fletcher and Hill. He had to go long and wide. That was a great kick.
You just feel a missing link at the moment as they run and carry here, the West Coast. Just then, 5 or 6 steps just enables Kennedy to be the target.
That is a ripping hoist right to the top of the square. Lynch is there. You try to get a boot on that then with a scissor kick.
They're not getting enough value for their dominance inside their forward 50 to press them. These are all long bombs, and I think they've got to mix it up. Otherwise, they'll just be so predictable against the top sides in the competition, Spud. They'll just push the numbers back, and the fast break the other way could hurt.
Knockdown. Stanton. Ebert. 2-5s going at it. Prittis. Leroy Jetta renowned for his tackling. There's Lonigan.
You've got one side in the West Coast Eagles have been inside their forward 50 14 times for 2 goals won. Essendon 5 for the same score.
And they're just absorbing all this pressure at the present time. I mean, you can't take it away from the Eagles. They've come here to play. They've come here to get 4 points. But maybe they just need to
Do something like that.
get a goal.
Nikoski kicks it.
So they get the break of the goal.
You talk about stoppages in the Essendon back half before the game.
Well, they'll be filthy on this. Dean Cox has actually been in red-hot form today with clearances. His tap work has been superb. And Nikoski gets forward. James he'd be filthy. But it's great work by Nikoski, who's gone forward and snapped truly.
They needed that though. The Eagles have dominated this quarter of footy.
So the Bombers, all of a sudden, under attack. West Coast have had the last 5 or 6 minutes in their half of the ground, and they've advanced the score.
Looks like a shootout in the middle. Shuey versus Stanton.
Shuey gets it. Gerard?
Well, Stanton will be running wide and Shuey will be running wide, you'd imagine. And I think it's a dangerous situation for either team. They've got to be really careful when possession changes.
That was a great tackle from Kyle Harding, hand on Jack Darling.
umpire wants to set the mark and be a little pedantic there.
We'll just give the Eagles a chance just to set up, try and reload in their back half.
Hardingham, Heppel does exactly as Spud just suggests. Now they've got the loose man out, Fletcher. Hooker. Can they penetrate forward? They've got Melksham short. He honours that. Melksham goes down the line looking for the Watson one-on-one. With Sell with the give and go from Ryder was great. The little squaring kick from Watson. Chambers
had the chance to kick a goal, should have taken it.
Kept his feet. Now the Eagles really battle out of defence, but Hill's going to get on the end of it. That's a free kick downfield.
Well, it's a big let-off because Hill looked up and he had Bombers streaming forward. So, gee, that's a let-off for the West Coast.
So Lynch has got it. He goes back over the mark. No one on the mark, and he just hammers a long ball. That's a great lead and a brilliant kick. Kennedy marks.
It's not all 65 metres, that kick of Lynch. I think David King's right. They're a little bit predictable now, Kingy, aren't they?
They are. It's just starting to work for them, though. Their big key forwards are just starting to get some space and assert their authority on the game, I feel, the Eagles.
See, Kennedy crept around on the mark there, Jared, and he wasn't called to play on as a result of that, and he was off the mark.
I think we'll just put the first one down to a blue.
Yep. Kennedy, another difficult kick. He is a straight kicker of the ball. This one's a ripper. That bends back a little left to right. The inside back part of the post. That's a great kick from there.
Back to the other end, though, there was an opportunity. Here's Watson bursting. He's all that space in front of him. There was an option at the top of the square, but for mine, the way Watson is converting at the moment, that's a goal.
That's the free kick there. As you can see, Reema's getting into the head.
He's back at 10 for the year, Watson.
Again, Smith goes high over the top. They come. Hooker. Not quite.
You're right. I think probably the positive of it, he tried to make a mistake playing team football, but he's kicked 10, and that's been the big improvement in his game, hitting the scoreboard.
Players scurrying to get hold of each other. Chambers, clever little tap. Kerr was there. Spills loose. Nikoski around the body, swinging back. I think it's enough. The bending machine, Nikoski.
Simplistic game plan. Get it in, keep it in, cause a stoppage. Let's expose the Bombers at stoppages. And Nikoski is the man doing the exposing at the present time, Danny.
Well, Jared, you were all over before the game. You said the Essendon one blot in their copybook is goals in their defensive 50. And that's been the difference in the scoreboard at the moment.
Well, it looks like it's Dyson Heppel who's going to have to put his hand up. Inexperienced kid. 2 goals, though. Let's have a look at it.
Successive goals to Nikoski.
LeCras kicked 12. A lot of focus on him. He's only touched the ball once. He hasn't touched the ball at all, LeCras. Now you've got Nikoski jumping in for 2. So it's working for the Eagles at the moment.
To me, it looks like the Eagles have just forgotten all about the travel here today, and they've just come to play intense footy, and the ground wouldn't matter to them. Look at the kick to Kennedy in front, did well, gave Shuey a chance. Heppel out of the way, missed Prittis with a handball. The backup's there. That's got to be a throw. It has to be a throw. It was a one-handed hoof. Oh boy, wow, the umpires missed that one. An opportunity shot at goal here. Was it Embley out wide?
Yeah, it was, Brian.
And he misses on his left.
Well,
have a look at this. Was it a throw?
Half a throw, Brian.
Told to play on here. And the Bombers getting out of there momentarily. Got some numbers here. Howlett. Left it for Reemers. Prittis trying to sneaky one to Naitanui. Clever tap. Unbelievable handball if it had come off. Stanton. Glass backing back. Hurley behind him. Well done, Darren Glass. And he ends up back in the play here. They are fighting, the Eagles. I haven't seen this from them in Victoria for a long, long time.
Well, Brian, contested possessions, to back it up, 45 to the Eagles, only the 30 to the Bombers. Their appetite for the contest is absolutely first class.
He's gone here, Daniel Kerr. He is absolutely spent, boys. 14 disposals, 4 clearances. He has been everywhere.
Unbelievable intensity in this game. melks them through some really heavy traffic.
Look at that. They are over Watson. Well, that's a throw, surely.
They're over every player. Look at it. Selwood goes in. The umpire said you had your head low. Comes out the back door. Look at the scrap of players, and they find space out of nothing. Schofield through the middle. This is fantastic play from the Eagles. A penetrating run. And now a long ball. Cox on the old man Fletcher. Handed. Got it.
Brilliant play. He knew he wouldn't be able to outreach him with two hands, so he kept him back with the one, did the wet weather mark, one hand, dropped it down to the chest. They have worked their ruckman brilliantly right now, the Eagles.
I would have thought you played key position, Jared, because the one thing he didn't want Fletcher to do was to run and jump, and you're right, he held him down because he knew he had the body strength advantage.
Cox comes in, 25 metres out. Some cream on the cake here, perhaps, and a miss.
Deserved a goal.
It did.
Great rebound from the Eagles. This is a brilliant start. There's always a question mark as we take a look at the bit of an injury there to Daniel Kerr.
Accidental knee to the head from Selwood, his teammate. I reckon there was a game here, Jared, Geelong and St Kilda, I think it was, a couple of years ago, which I thought was the most intense game I've ever seen played here. And the intensity of this game, not saying the skill, but the intensity of this game is
similar,
nearly equal to that, Jared. Around the corner, Shepherd, the late inclusion.
Well, we've had nearly 60 tackles already, Brian, from both teams.
That says it, doesn't it? Slattery. Soccer off the ground. Selwood. Scott it was. Lynch let it go, picked it up. What can the big boy do? Centering kick. Fletcher gets back. Real difficult position to take the mark. Ebert closing here. Did it well. Really good play from Kyle Hardingham. Got to like him down there at the moment, doing a good job. Look at the Eagles outnumbering here. Smith.
He did well forcing his opponent under the ball, went back track, picked it up, rebound, dangerous.
Kick to Cox is a ripper. Should have marked it. Had the Dukes extended a little, he would have got it. That is a cracking quarter of football. Cox dropping that mark at the end. Doesn't matter. Eagles away from home by 15 points over the Bombers. 4-4-28 to 2-1-13. Stay with us. This is going to continue without any doubt whatsoever.
Essendon this quarter.
Well, here we go. Cracking first quarter, full of great intensity football. Bell-Chambers and Nat Nui. Nat Nui easily getting the jump in those centre contests, and Lonigan.
Well, he's on Daniel Kerr. Kerr's coming up from possession 15, so Lonigan hard tag, but great two-way footy from Kerr.
Daniel Kerr sends a long ball. Kennedy bound, one in front, one behind. They're sandwiched.
Oh, look at this.
Off hands, Lynch, goal within seconds.
Centre clearance, goal. Nothing scientific about it, get it in. The big man rove from the big man, and he had an opportunity to give it to Lacroix. They didn't have to. Have a look at this, another great tap. Well sharp, but the tackling and ferocious play of Daniel Kerr is one of the big highlights. But we've been waiting to see if he was going to get himself back to the incredible form he showed in the premiership era. Well, today the signs are building on some small positives. Now this is a major step forward.
And they're going long to the contest. You've got Kennedy, you've got Lynch, throwing Nat Nui and Cox rotating through the ruck. So the long kicks to the top of the square, it's exciting footy. I love it.
So it's simplistic footy, as you put it, Gerald. Yep. So what were we doing for the last 10 years when we weren't kicking it long and we refused to go to the big man who could knock it down to the little man and score like that?
We're working our way back to it.
Oh, we're trying to reinvent the wheel, I think.
Put me through 6 years of misery. Unbelievable.
But this is back to the future, which we like. I like the way they're going about. They're winning the ball. They're going long to a contest. And I'll tell you what, the Essendon defenders, they're under siege because the ball's going north to 30, and that's the last place a defender wants it, especially in the corridor.
Gee, the stoppages, and David King's already touched on it a few times, but the West Coast at the moment just know exactly where they're placing the ball.
Double them, Brian, 15 to 8.
Well, Dean Cox is currently, he's almost minding Fletcher as much as he is doing anything else. I'm sure he started down there just to give Fletcher somebody he has to mind. And they're getting a bonus at both ends and in the middle.
And pulling him right back to the square as well.
Much better. They've won a contest inside their forward 50.
Now he'll get the distance here pretty easily, Paddy.
Well, it has to be a rebound from Essendon. They had a soft game last week, we know, but so too did the Eagles. But if they don't rebound and respond here, Danny, And I think James Hurley, even if they had a loss, if they don't respond and put in a competitive effort, he'll think they've gone back a fair step.
In some ways, the win last week was too easy. It was, it was pretty well bruise-free football last week.
Paddy Ryder directly in front, got a kick at 50. There's the task, and it's left. Always off the boot.
I think we're all coming to this game to see both sides the improvement, and I think that's the beauty about this contest today.
She says a good.
How good's that?
Curtis, 55 metres, only went 7 foot off the ground. Kerr now goes wide. That's got a bit of altitude about it. Gives Lovett Murray a chance.
Reactive footy at the moment from the Bombers.
Here comes Kennedy. She's along the line. Cox on the lead. He checks the mark with the umpire. Gains a couple of metres and will line up for goal.
The understated improvement in the Eagles' game has been their kicking. Last year they were horrible, to say the least.
They were.
And the last couple of years, in fact, and yet this year they have really improved in that element of the game.
I think it's confidence too. They ranked 13th last year. They ranked 4th.
Cox from just outside 50, stretching for the journey, just pulled it across the body and off hands. So, Jared, there's no one that's gone into the West Coast team that is an outstanding kick that has improved that, though, is there? It's just a team thing.
I think you're right, BT. It's whether or not it's just the confidence, I'm not sure. They've done technical work, but they're a hell of a lot better at it. Well, keeping the ball at the moment.
Well, they're all their better players are playing well too. They're senior players. They weren't on the park last year, and all these youngsters have got 30, 40 games in them there.
Here's Jetta. Gets it long. Can Paddy make ground on this? Yes, he can. Gee, that was good. The kick almost drew magnetically Paddy back to the spot where it should have been.
Schofield was right on Paddy Ryder, and the kick was just too good. You called it absolutely spot on, Brian. The kick drew Paddy Ryder to the dangerous spot. Schofield thought he had him covered, but again, the kick was far too good, and Ryder missed one from a lot harder position than this about 2 minutes ago. The Bombers desperately need this one.
Have a look at this. You talk about why his goal kicking down. You can see him suck it in the big breaths. I'm sure that has one of the reasons why they kick in accurately these days, is they're knackered. Paddy Ryder goes back and puts that one through, and boy, the Bombers needed it.
Well, it was a good response again from a stoppage. It exposed the Eagles this time because they had their men up the ground trying to get the press, but they won it. And this was a very, very good kick. Into the space, had Nat Nui as a defender. And they had Schofield going up against Ryder. And if it was in space, he was always going to be athletic enough to get the job done.
Leroy Jetta, their quickest player of the Bombers, was allowed out the back. It's a bit of a let-off there.
So Paddy Ryder gets his goal apiece here in the second quarter. West Coast by 15.
Well, he looks like the forward for the Bombers that looks very dangerous. We know he had a terrific game here in round 1 against the Bulldogs, kicking 5.
Go, Hocking. Kerr just had a little fumble, but was quick enough to recover. Howlett. Nonchalant little give out the side door to Stanton.
Just winning a bit more contested ball at the moment, the Bombers.
Gray did well there.
And more importantly, the centre clearances as well. Puts any defence under pressure.
Full kick went against him, so Glass to Embley immediately on the attack as Lynch, who's one hand to fend Hardy-Am, the other to mark.
And Jack Darling, a full forward now, taking Fletcher, and Cox has moved up to centre-half forward. They're all oversized. They're all bigger than their defensive opponents.
Big kick again on the head of Kennedy and Hooker had control of that one.
Again, I don't think the West Coast Eagles are shy in going long and deep. Very rarely have they had shallow forward 50s. At worst, that's a win for the Eagles because the ball's inside their forward 50. We've already seen 2 goals kicked from stoppages in the first quarter for the Eagles through Nikoski.
Trying to backhand flick then, Cox. Bombers got some numbers around this ball, and Shuey is pinned with it.
And this is very much the reason why everyone's going long, because it's irrelevant, BT, whether you hit a target first up in some ways, if you can get it in there, as you said, and lock it in.
Yep. Second and third chance.
The umpire's down.
In footy is...
The umpire got bowled over there.
As David King will tell you. Opportunity here. Kerr. Under Shuey, around the body, straightens it up. Kennedy got to beat a couple. Standard did really well.
Yeah, good courage. Darling made him earn it, but that is fantastic courage from the number 5 in the Bombers.
Not exactly the same. Oh no, it was to his teammate.
Hurley
Rolled it along the ground.
to Reimers. Should have taken that mark in the end. Here's
Division.
Adam Seld with a little pokey one. Did Hurley infringe? The umpire said it was legal. Hill went to ground almost deliberately. Shuey tried to flop forward, but Slattery had him.
So it was a good sport from Hurley. It was an old-fashioned ear massage, I thought. Let's have a look. There's the cry. Hurley coming in. I don't know, over the top.
Fresh air.
Yeah, fresh air. Good decision, umpire.
No arms either, so it was a good decision. Hill doing the ruck work. West Coast 20 metres out from goal. Picked up by Nat Nui to an open goal. So he needs a good bounce.
A flying mop. He nearly put his hand up for one of the goals of the year because he jumped hard. He's got deft hands.
Well, this is the press. You know, you've got Cox, you've got Glass. David King alluded to pre-game. It's very hard for the Bombers to get the ball over the line, but you're right with Nat Nui. 11 disposals, 9 contested possessions from Nick Nat Nui.
Kick out wide and long, and Mayer's taken by Hearn.
Well, there's that wall.
Cox now.
I keep hearing negatives about Nick Nat Nui about what he can't do, and yet what we're seeing is what he can do. And if people keep focusing on what he can do, they'll find that there's a really good player emerging.
Kennedy takes a big mark.
They're just too tall at the moment. You've got Fletcher back into their defence. I know Hurley started forward, but he'll have to go back in the back line because John Worsfold's really stretching the Bomber defence. With Hooker down there, but you've got Cox, Kennedy, Nat Nui, Darling. See, they've got some tools. Why wouldn't you go long and quick?
Josh Kennedy lines up. 35 metres out on a 45-degree angle. Kick on the way, tight. Timber work. So a let off for the Bombers.
Well, it is a let off, Brian. He's normally a very accurate set shot, Josh Kennedy. Just a couple so far today. The two behinds.
Nice kick back into play. And on the end of it,
Dangerous kick.
Hurley around the corner was a little dangerous. Prittis now got to come back, and here they go again. Once again, Darling. Wasn't balanced. Leeds were coming. Couldn't possibly kick it.
The Bombers had to know that kick is always going to go to a tall in Lynch or Cox for a kick in.
Darling goes to the pocket. Should have been to the top of square. Here comes Kennedy over the top. Spoiled his own man in the end. Kept alive. Did well, Ebert, to the goal mouth. No West Coast player there.
Isn't it ironic? Probably the only player who's getting beaten at the moment for the West Coast is the bloke who kicked 12 goals too last time they played.
And again, I think the scoreboard's flat in the Bombers. They're just getting smacked. They just cannot put the ball inside their forward 50. 28 Eagles, only 8 to Essendon. They're only 3 goals down.
Well, the reports around the league from Hawthorn players were saying that West Coast were doing their defence better than any other side they'd played, and I reckon the Bombers would be reporting the same thing at the moment.
Melksham to Lonigan.
I think that's a credit to John Worsfold too. Being able to reinvent the style and believe in it.
Lonigan around the corner, Bell Chambers, and says, get out of the way. To Butler. Plays on, little tip kick over the top, but increases the angle to Watson.
Looking to play on.
He does, goes around on the right. Bird had a shot at goal, got it. So the skippers pulled them back. And they're back within 12 points.
Well, it's amazing. Watson's kicked 2 goals, and yet he's had no one manning the mark. One in the first quarter, and we see here Bell Chambers. Just a let-off here again. It's just a mental lapse on the West Coast area. They've dominated every facet of the game of footy. But look at this. That's just inexcusable there from Sam Butler. That's twice. He just allowed Watson just to roll around. You get away with it once. A 12-point ball game, yet they're 19 down and inside 50s.
12-point lead of the Eagles. Here's David King.
Oh, just having a look at Daniel Kerr as he comes for a spell, boys. He's just getting far too much space at these clearances. Have a look. Just here you see him bottom of screen get the first one. Then again, the next centre bounce, just virtually, he should be tagged at this stage. He's had 18 disposals and 6 clearances.
Zaharakis out of the middle, penetrating run. Beautiful kick to Bell-Chambers, couldn't quite get hold of it. The Bombers dangerous. McVeigh on his left boot. They're back in a minute. No, they're not. Exciting, withering speed shown by the Bombers.
Yeah, when they come out of the centre, they are as good as anybody. They've just got to get it out of the centre a little bit more often. Now lock it in. Let's see how the Bombers can defend.
So Hearn is forced to go short, so that's a first win for the Bombers. Now it marks it up. He has to kick it down the line. He's got Darling. Lovett Murray's there as well. And got to the front too easy against Lovett Murray, Darling.
You've got to play somebody on this kid that can reach over here.
It's out of bounds on the full, so the Bombers have a win there. Their press has a win. Zaharakis, dangerous through the middle. Fletcher, little iffy kick, picked up and tidied up by Cramery to Heppel. Heppel goes back to Hooker to give him time and allow him to sight down the ground to see, and he sees Slattery wide. Slattery around the corner on the left. Here comes Watson, Ryder out wide, with Mark taking Ebert.
Interesting matchups the modern game throws up. At the moment we've got Mark McVeigh running with Nick Naitanui.
Yeah. Ebert down the line. Knocked away there by Lynch. Here comes Prittis. Gets clean possession. Feeds the handball back. Shuey just in the nick of time to Ebert. Ebert thinks his way through, but the skilled execution wasn't great. Naitanui. The run by Lynch. Getting forward to the ball, the shepherd by Naitanui was great. Here go the Eagles. Darling on the lead. That is fantastic. 5 seconds ago, he was at half back.
I'll tell you what, Naitanui, two deft shepherds. The first one, and then he gets the handball. Handballs again, and then another shepherd. Well, just see here, there's the first shepherd. That's fantastic. Then he gets a handball there from Butler. Handball's over the top. He's still in the game of football. Here he goes. Bang. That is fantastic team-orientated footy. Nick Naitanui.
Jack Darling in the meantime lines up for goal number 2. Just took a little step to his left there to lessen the angle. Perhaps not onto it. There it is. Right at home with Jack Darling and sprayed it to the right.
5-9 now. Should be at least 9-5.
Bombers have done extremely well to hang in there.
Yeah, despite the Eagles' dominance, you don't.
Oh boy, Zaharakis cut off by Kennedy. Takes the mark, runs into an open goal. 18-point lead, West Coast.
And even despite that goal, despite the Eagles' dominance, you still don't think this game is any way over, Spud. This is, I think, reflection of what we all thought coming in. A little bit of softness creeps into your mindset because you've had a one-way game last week. And, geez, they couldn't have picked a worse opposition to expose that because the Eagles have been so hard and tough in their team defence. But they've still got a genuine chance to rebound.
So Kennedy kicks his first goal. He's a lot of work up there, and West Coast 18-point leaders, David King.
Just forcing them to make errors in their defensive half here. That's the beauty of the press and the territory that we keep talking about, and the Bombers have succumbed a couple of times. 2
goals apiece in this second quarter. You'd think the Eagles were miles in front on that. They're not. 2 goals apiece kicked in this quarter. Here's Zaharakis, straightens up on his right boot. Smothered in the end.
Smith.
And now to tidy up Rosa out of the danger zone, and I think it'll find touch. It will.
That was a brilliant smother. You don't see a lot of smothers these days, but that one, I reckon, saved them a goal, and it wasn't a normal one where it smothered off the boot. It was about 2 metres back. It was a fresh air smother.
Naitanui reaching over the back of Hill. Rosa, underground handball, deliberately searching for half boundary, half teammate. And Kerr's hurt his shoulder then again, I reckon. I saw him hurt it not long ago as well, but definitely favouring his left shoulder.
Well, he hasn't been the same player, BT, since he's come off the ground. He's only had the 4 disposals.
Right shoulder, I'm sorry.
Yeah, after having 14 in the first quarter, Daniel Kirk.
Definitely saw then when he got up. Hearn did well in front of Reimers. Risky kick to Shuey. McVeigh got a hand on it. Not enough. Running support by Glass was impressive. Lovett Murray's got to go. Didn't really commit himself.
They want it more, the Eagles.
To win that contest. Lovett Murray in the end got it out. Beautiful tap work from Melksham. The Jetta kick is exceptional. And so is the lead from Ryder. He goes inside 50. High ball. Hocking over the top. In he comes. Takes the mark. He was hoping to run and play on as well. And he'll line up 10 metres out.
No, that was just a beautiful transference of play. I thought the Eagles were all open here in the wing, but they couldn't be denied. The key, you called it, BT, was Paddy Ryder. As soon as he marked the ball, he looked inboard. Saw the Essendon player in front. That's just great team football.
Hocking to get them back within 2 goals. A pretty easy kick. He's got it. The Bomber fans love it. And Hocking has put the Bombers back in the hunt here.
Done a pretty reasonable job. Heath Hocking. He's hasn't dominated Priddis. Priddis is still getting his involvements, but he's got him in check. And then to get forward and get on the scoreboard is a real win. Nice work there from Jetta, who bursts away with his speed, and I love his disposal. And that's good work, pushing forward to expose your sentiment, or your opposition sentiment.
Kicked 3 of the last 4 goals the Bombers, Spud.
I think Daniel Kerr might have been on just for this instance. I know he's on Priddis, but Priddis is on the boundary line, out on the bench at the moment, so Kerr needs to tighten up in that instance.
No, Selwood, that was Scott Selwood. Worked it forward, Hooker under real pressure here as the Eagles close in. Nikoski, the gatherer, around the corner, good kick, Lacroix. Really close, 15 metres out, almost directly in front, Lacroix.
Well, it was a great centred kick, and Lacroix was hoping that it would go there. Should have been knowing that it would go there, and he should go back and kick 1, which means he's got 11 to get, BT, if he's going to equalise last time.
Around 16 last year, as Spud mentioned. He kicked 12 goals on this venue against this team. And he said it was the death knell of Matthew Knights in that particular game. Lacroix comes in directly in front. He's very reliable at this part of the game. He's kicked the goal. They're back out to 18.
Yes, it's a nice little buffer. Is 18 points. And there it is again. Just a great tap. Selwood doing a pretty good job all round in his defensive work and his stoppages work. And here's another. He's been dangerous up forward, Priddis. It wasn't a brilliant kick, but it certainly got the job done.
Nikoski did well to keep it alive. Mark Lacroix gets his first goal here. 18-point lead to the West Coast Eagles. And we've got still 7 minutes remaining in this quarter. Both sides have kicked 3 goals apiece in it. Down the middle. Will be in favour of the Bombers.
Pretty savage tackle, BT. I reckon he might have put a dent in your car.
They don't tackle lightly, those boys. There's Lonigan out wide over the top. Watson trying to stretch at the back. Kerr. That is a controlled, deliberate kick to Selwood. Scott Selwood on his left didn't look that good. Lonigan just saw the hands of Hooker behind the play.
Bit of a fumble.
Yeah.
Oh, look at Selwood butter up, BT.
Wasn't clean, it was. Good get in the end, Spud. Heppel, Belchambers, Hooker, and now the space from McVeigh and Heppel to go to work. Didn't want it, Lovett Murray said, you kick it down there, and he does. Getting on the end of it, Cramery. Zaharakis to spark up forward. Just the handball out. What a beautiful pick-up it was from Cramery then. Under enormous pressure. In the end, it didn't work. Kick off the side of the boot. Hocking can go the journey from there.
Jesus, some pressure in there. Just brilliant footy from both teams. And an opportunity for the Bombers to drag themselves back in.
Again, we've had 75 tackles between the two teams. Essendon leading the way with 42. The Eagles 32. That is heat at its best.
Hocking for his 2nd consecutive goal in this quarter. Will have to kick it 50 metres. And the left foot has got that in the boot, and it's dead eye as well. As straight as they come. The Bombers, yet again, back to within 12.
Spud, John Warside's going to have to get Prittis back on the ground, because when he's off the ground, Hocking becomes a more attacking player, it would seem. He's kicked 2 goals in the space of a couple of minutes with Prittis resting.
Well, he has, and Kerr's been on him on those 2 occasions. But you probably couldn't blame Daniel Kerr. I think it was the Essendon forward pressure that caused this turnover with Hocking just creating the wall. So 13 inside 50s, 9 scoring shots. They've been effective when they've gone forward, the Bombers.
The last 5 goals have been goal for goal. Such the swinging nature of this game. Still lots of time in the half remaining. Perfect bounce by the umpire. 2 big ruckmen go up. No clear winner. Ground level shark. Kerr was just sensational. Selwood soccers it forward. Nat Nui got under it. Hooker now. Fletcher. Well done, Nat Nui. The little knock meant the difference between the Bomber clearance from defence and out of bounds.
There's no doubt the mindset of the Eagles would say, we've dominated this game, yet we're only 2 kicks in front. Yeah. That mental pressure in itself, playing away, you've got to take your chances when you play interstate. It's as simple as that.
Nui there, Hurley. There's Jetta. Deft little tap, wasn't it, Gerard? He liked it. There's Paddy. Ran into a tackle. Awareness to get rid of it. Through the middle, Leroy Jetta starts to wind him up. Took a bounce, wanted a second. Gave it on to McVeigh. Remember, he's a left footer. Has to get back onto it. Does now. Little Chesler to Cramery over the top. This is a great build-up from the Bombers. Left foot by Cramery from 55 metres out. That is a thumping kick. Bombers at their brilliant best in 2011. Wonderful play.
But that was really interesting to see how the modern game is played. And there was a mistake because a player left his man and opened up the space. Now he comes to the centre of the ground here. There's no one. He's got no one to give it to. And there you see it. I think it was Ebert go forward. Then all of a sudden that created the one over, the one over, the one over. And a goal was created. If he doesn't go, he's effectively got nowhere to kick it. He's heading out to the boundary line. So it's very much a game of chess.
That mental pressure has just doubled for the West Coast Eagles. They've dominated everywhere but on the scoreboard, and now the Bombers, they've got a sniff. They know they haven't really come to play in the first half, yet they're only a kick behind.
A goal in it, says Spud. Out of the middle with a clearance as well, and look at the ground made from Cramery. He did the hard work in the run when none thought he'd get there. Dropped the easy mark. Off hands, picked up by Lovett Murray. Handball back inside. One of the specialists, Zaharakis, brings the scores level.
Now we're seeing the real improvement of the James Hird coach team. Why? They were down and out, they were buried, but they never gave in. And it's just an amazing game of football. Gerard, you talked about a pre-game, centre clearances are a premium, and the Bombers this quarter, they've just about dominated the last 15 minutes out of the middle, and it's now having a direct reflection on the scoreboard.
Great goal.
What can you do if you're the West Coast coach here? Cox is pointing to his back line and reorganising them, Gerard. They've put an extra down there. Is that what you need to do?
I don't think extras in defence help anymore.
We've got 2 extras, actually.
You've got to win at the clearance.
2 extras in the back half here, the Eagles. And as Prittis looks forward, there's absolutely only the one option, and that's it.
Well, I'll just run it out now, Essendon, Brian.
Heppel.
Extra.
There's the start of that run, Hurley, to give and go back to the better user, Heppel. A little nurse kick around the corner to Stanton.
I can understand the philosophy of banking your lead or even just neutralising it, but sides are too smart now. They just chip it around until they get an opening. And there was an opportunity. They won the centre clearance. They had their 6 people in the forward line. They may have been having a shot at goal.
But I wonder if Cox was just saying that to just for 1 or 2 minutes to stop the flow at least, and then we go back to normal play. Because he was certainly directing those loose players to go back.
Well, that's why the coaches get paid the big bucks, Brian, because they're going to make the decision under real heat. Under real heat for 4 points. But John Walswell will be sitting there. We've dominated the game, yet we've kicked 2 goals fired from set shots.
Scores a level.
It is a philosophical debate. Yeah. I've spoken to a number of coaches who are at polar opposites. Some think playing is behind the ball is defensive. Others say put more blokes in at the ball to stop to win the actual contested ball.
Your point was right. West Coast win the clearances. We put a premium on them. They win the clearance. It goes to an outnumbered situation. So if you're going to put an extra behind the ball, you're better off losing the centre bounce.
Shuey.
Spot on.
From the stoppage, Lacroix goes forward. There's Lynch, had to double back. Hurley did well to knock it away and kept alive here though by Ebert. Was it? Yes, it was. Kicked in towards Nikoski. Harding had to go. It's gone over the top. He's kicked a miracle goal from the boundary line.
That Sharon, the TW, doesn't do some tricks. Let's have a look to see when this ball goes out of bounds. No, it's a good decision from the umpire. Looked as if it was on the line, BT, not all the way over. Well, close.
Great shepherd, Nikoski. Not sure whether he's shepherding it to get through the goals, but it was a shepherd anyway. As we see, you kick a goal, you come off the ground and have a little bit of a breather. Unbelievable goal.
Ebert comes to the ground after kicking that goal. I think it was out of bounds, Jared.
Kingy, have you seen a change in the play the last 10 minutes?
I just think Essendon are rebounding a lot better than what the Eagles can, but they're relying on keeping the ball in their forward half. Daniel Kerr has gone forward.
Quick kick out of the pack. And almost a mark at half back. Shuey on the wing goes forward, looking for Darling in front. Just got a boot on it. Now Heppel. Quick hand release to Slattery on his favoured left side. 2 minutes 50 remaining in the half. Crameri in the air. Hill tried to push it in the Jetta direction. So did Crameri. Rosa in the end to Schofield. Prittis. Cox. Where do I go, he says. Turn around, go long with the ball. Up they fly. Hardingham went strong, aggressive and powerfully at the punch. Well, that was almost his own man, Hardingham. It just made a commitment to the ball in the air that he was going to punch it.
Well, James Head won't mind that, Brian. We've got two players hell-bent on killing the contest. They've lifted their appetite for the contest too, the Bombers.
Opportunity, Cox out the back, Melksham. Lynch over the top of it. Nat Nui, scrap of players. Look at the hard fight going on. Crameri, the big body. Give it to me. Jetta, Howlett. Eventually they get it out. Great perseverance. Howlett, the drawing bounce. Gives it on. The Bombers are into attack without great direction. Embley dropped the mark he should have taken. There's Zaharakis. Can make you pay Zaharakis. Lonergan back on. Howlett, little left foot kick. Can Hill make it? No, he can't. Glass. Short little kick, Shepherd. Out of trouble here now. Smith goes really wide with that kick. Stays into Rosa though. So a minute 35 remaining. Eagles by a goal. In what has been one of the most intense games of this season so far. Really cracking contest.
And a great decision to close the roof too, because it was bucketing down at the start of the match.
Was indeed. Wintry, old cold day in Melbourne today. Nat Nui off the ground. Lynch 70 metres out, not beyond Lynch from there.
One's forward.
Anything's possible. The kick to Kennedy was great.
Well, it was fantastic, BT. Darling and Kennedy's connection there was terrific. They both started in similar starting points, and they both led to different areas in the forward 50, and that's what you want when you're a kicker. One vision, two options, and he had that. That was terrific forward play.
Kennedy for his second goal of the quarter. To get the margin back out to 12 points, where it's been 4 times in this quarter, 4 separate occasions. Kennedy with the sower singing machine run up, comes in, a nice little bit of bend about it. Magnificent kick. Eagles by 12 points.
I'll tell you what, if you're doing nothing on Mother's Day and you're looking for a couple of hours of entertainment, you'd have to go a long way to get a better entertaining game, a more entertaining game than the one we're seeing right in front of us. Because the Eagles have come to play, they've got the early march, the Bombers are back, all the good players are getting their share of the ball. And I just make the point about Nat Nui. Just keep concentrating on what he can do. Don't worry about what he can't do, because he is doing more and more with every minute of footy he plays.
There's 9 disposals. He's at 14. He's the second leading possession getter for the Eagles. It's his deft touches. You know, there's that little stab pass off the ground, the shepherds, the tackles, second and third efforts.
Stoppage work in the middle was good. Clearance for the Bombers. Remus, clever little tap. Oh boy, Slattery hovering over the top. It was uncertain about it. Cox on his left foot for a big man. Missed. Hooker. Something to love at Murray. Closing down on the siren here. Heppel. Siren sound.
Great half.
Sensational football here in this first half of football between the Bombers and the West Coast Eagles. At quarter time, it was a 15-point West Coast lead. It's now a 12-point West Coast lead. It was square just a couple of minutes ago. Stay with us. This is a magnificent contest. It ain't going away, I can tell you that. Back with more of the Bombers and the Eagles. We're ready to go.
Of course, the Bombers won the centre clearances in the second quarter. That's why they dominated and hit the scoreboard.
Intriguing game, both in intensity and tactics here. Once again, Nat Nui with the better rise to get hand on the ball. And at half-back, nice mark taken by Hardingham.
And this is where James ought to be hoping to get some rebound, getting it off that half-back line and getting it in. But this is a good turnover for the Eagles.
Well done, Nat Nui. No free kick gave it away. Embley blazed away.
Not a great kick from a bloke who's in really good form, rare form, in fact.
Well, it hasn't worked for him by foot, Jared. He's going 20% by foot today, Embley.
Yep. He's not having his best game. He's been targeted.
Joe Watson wanted someone to come at him then, and they all just stood.
That said, Spud, he's been playing unbelievable footy.
Risky kick there, knocked away. Around the corner, Lynch. High ball comes back to Hooker. Off the mark, so the Bombers are a bit jittery here in the early parts of the third.
That's a huge win for the West Coast. Instead of the Bombers clearing the ball out of the defensive zone, danger signs.
Knockdown here, lots of Bombers at this stoppage. Watson dragged, and Zaharakis comes back to the members' side of the ground. Got the give and go from Hurley. Now he's trapped. Darling did well. It was a beautiful corral. They've done it excellently there, the Eagles.
Perfect frontal pressure there, Brian. Corralling, just forcing the Bombers to hit a high handball. That's well drilled.
So danger here for the Bombers. A goal perhaps on the cards. Fletcher clearing handball at the feet of McVeigh. That made it difficult. And I think McVeigh's going to get away.
Well, that Cox tap, that's where Nikoski got the two taps. Watson was all over that tap, then out away from goal. It was great play from Joe Watson.
Hurley in the deep defence. Penetrating kick to Zaharakis, who held Darling under the ball. It was well done, David Zaharakis. Jetta did well, stole the ball in midair. Electric play. Two bouncers, can go a third. Run inside 50, long handball over the top. Here's the sub, Monfries. Monfries from 5 metres misses. Pressure from Shuey, and he's hurt, or is it Glass?
Nice. Once again, a player forced to leave. He has to make a decision. Does he go? This time he did. And he relied on Darren Glass to do the extra work to cover that man. And there gets a boot where it hurts.
BT, could he kick a drop punt then, Monfries?
Just going to say he went for the banana kick when probably the drop punt would have been the go. That was the perfect one. We often criticise them for going underground. That would have been the one. Opportunity here now for Selwood. In the head of Bell Chambers. Pritis' handball is swatted by Lonigan. And that's well done by the Bombers. Got Selwood there. Have a look at the Monfries kicks.
Yep, time to straighten up. I thought he did.
Yep.
It's easy sitting up here, though.
Copped an accidental one there, Glass, in the nether regions as well. Smarky's day up. Heppel.
We've got to work this tapping situation. There's no point winning an easy tap if you hit it straight to where the players aren't.
Here's Hardingham, who's been really good in the back half. That kick was almost a missed kick. Quite sure how I'd describe it. Picked up by the white-booted Remus, who hammers it home.
Kicked late last week, kicks his first today. Missed tackle from Adam Selwood. inexcusable. Probably one of the most important things in today's football, tackles and effective tackles. The Bombers have started well. We just see here, Selwood tries to have a piece of the ball and should never allowed him around there.
It's a good goal, though.
It's a terrific goal. But again, should have just bodied him up, just allowed the leg rope there, tried to have a piece of the ball instead of the body there, Selwood. Good, great start, Essendon.
Remus gets his first goal here. And all of a sudden back within 5 here in the very early stages of this third quarter. That Nui again up over the top. Beautiful knockdown of Scott Selwood. That kicks off the side of the boot. Kennedy gathers possession. He turns. What does he do? Doesn't take Hooker on. Kicked it around the corner. Lacroix tried to clear Slattery out. Couldn't do it. Slattery, beautifully weighted kick over the top to Heppel.
Please, man. Good Slattery on Lacroix.
Gives it off to Watson. Watson sees down the ground. Crameri. They protect him. Ryder did well to stop the guy running in from behind. Here's Melksham. Head at the ball. Did well, Melksham. Embley gathers the loose ball, took a little bit of time getting rid of it. There was no one immediately in his vision, so he had to have a bit of a bo peep around and he got pinged. Watson now at half forward, a long kick, here comes Hill, Hill in front, Crameri has taken the mark.
He's got super hands, Crameri.
Hasn't he ever?
He's leading the goal kicking for the Bombers. He just, one grab, doesn't fumble at all. And what he does, he jumps early, marks the ball in front of his eyes, which is really difficult to get a piece of the ball from a defender's point of view.
Sure whether to play small or talls on him, are you? In he comes, Crameri, and he slots the goal as well. Guess what? The Bombers are back in front.
Well, there were signs of this in the last part of the second quarter, but they really have started incredibly well. Nice kick from Watson, set up Crameri, had some protection at the back. I think it was Hill that just did a nice little bit of body work there. And Crameri has gone back and slotted a pretty important goal. In fact, it was David Hill.
First time they've been in front since the 8-minute mark of the first quarter of the Bombers. Crameri with 2. So Crameri gets his second goal and the Bombers have eked their way in front here. They lead it by just the 1 point. Have the West Coast got an answer? Can they stop the run? Kicked 5 of the last 7 goals, the Bombers in the game. And Remus will get a free there. Was taken down by Selwood.
He just kick it from there. It's a big kick.
This just goes to show how important clean centre clearances are. It's the most important stat in league football now. Always has been, but now the emphasis on forward line pressure, holding the ball in.
I don't think it ever was quite as much as it is now.
Remus has gone back to wind up, almost to the centre of the ground. You can see the circle there, directly in front. It's all about striking it flush. In he comes, needs a powerful hoof. It's that. That'll bring the crowd to their feet. Unbelievable kick from Remus.
So the Bombers have responded. The question remains, have the Eagles got another dart to throw at the board? Let's take a look at this clearance. Big tap from Hill, gets it down to the ground. Nobody defending the attacking area. And the Bombers just sweep it forward. Under pressure, Selwood's given away a free kick.
No, he has. 5 inside 50s this quarter for 3 goals. They are on fire, especially the centre clearance. The Eagles desperately need this next centre clearance.
3 goals in 7 minutes, and as Remus was lining up for this kick, Hill and Glass were going at it. Bell Chambers came in to lend some assistance as well earlier before that was taken, but that was all happening off the ball while he was lining the goal up. Here's Melksham out of the middle all of a sudden. They look good here now. Lonigan, the handball to Hill, was in trouble. Cleverly kept it rolling forward. Here's Ryder, got it off nicely to Remus. Remus goes long to the square. I think it's gone over the top. It's a goal. It is. Bell Chambers said, I didn't touch it. Petrofy's an offender. He said he would have. Remus has got his third.
Oh, this is unbelievable. This is absolutely unbelievable from Remus. 3 goals at the start of this third quarter, but the pick-up from Paddy Ryder. You ever seen a better pick-up from a tall ruckman?
Clean,
off your ankles, didn't fumble, had pressure from the left and behind, and still had the awareness to give the ball to Kyle Remus. We'll get another look here from the behind vision. Quick hands, clean, bang, stood up on the tackle. Absolutely amazing athleticism.
4 goals in 8 minutes, 3 from that man there, Reamers, and he's now wanting to direct the whole show. A concerned Eagles box. What do they do to stop the run? They get their best outfit in the middle. Cox, Prentice, Kerr, Selwood. And they get an immediate clearance and a result on that. The swarming Bomber defence.
Once again, they put the extra number back. They win the centre clearance, go forward, and they lose the footy.
Fletcher.
They've got Shuey as a spare man across half-back, and Smith.
It's the old chicken and egg tail, isn't it? You put an extra back to stem the blood flow. If you play positive footy, win the centre clearance, it goes to an outnumbered situation.
Now they've got the extra man down there. They should be able to push this forward.
Shepherd at half-back here. 4 goals in 8 minutes of playing time in the third quarter here for the Bombers. That's of actual clock time. Playing time's probably about half that.
Oh, look out.
Here's Lacroix. Rakas has given away the free, has he? Yes.
David King, has Lacroix gone onto the wing now because he was getting, well beaten by Slattery?
Came off the bench, Bob.
Yeah, he has, and he's just going behind the ball just to settle things down. They just look second to move, their defenders at the moment, the Eagles. They look rattled.
The run has stopped from the West Coast Eagles. Here's Smith. Taking plenty of time and just trying to possess the ball for as long as they can here, the Eagles, but they're forced to go down the line to a contest again. Offhands, Kerr was brilliant, got it to Scott Selwood, looked inboard, Prentice was there. Now look at this, the Eagles escorting the ball down the ground, there's 4 of them. He didn't know which way to go. He gave it to Shuey, an answering shot at goal. Hit the timber work.
Much better play from the Eagles, though. There they used their extra man to their advantage by not blasting the ball.
Ball back into play, Hocking.
Overlap.
Opportunity here for Melksham. Melksham on the half-forward line, not sure what to do. Forced to kick on his non-preferred. It wasn't great. Didn't have too many other options. Glass, and now Adam Selwood.
I guarantee that one will be looked at, Spud, by the coaches to take Melksham through that entire situation again, because he absolutely picked the wrong option.
Well, at worst, he should have went long down the line to a boundary throw-in.
Will Schofield, penetrating run here. Kick to Kennedy, running in the same direction. Did well not to infringe Fletcher. Picked it up, Kennedy. He's hustling in there. He's taking on 4 Bombers. There's only 1 Eagle. And have a look at it. They just set up the square. Chain of handballs results in the Lovett-Murray. Disposal to Ryder. They've opened them up again. Here's the speed of Leroy. He's got Bombers streaming towards the goal. One of those, McVeigh. Or was it? Yes, it was.
Essendon have now got what they want. They've got Fletcher as a loose man in defence. They've got the ball being bombed into Fletcher, and the rebound through the middle of the ground because they've got overlap players, sets up with a fast break football, and midfield is running into space.
And the Eagles, when they were on top, always had an extra. Now the Eagles defenders are playing reactive, so they're going with their half forwards, which opens up the vacuum for the forward 50 for the Bombers, like McVeigh went into there.
The left boot of McVeigh favoured for this shot at goal. He missed. Might go down to David King because Hardingham looks like he's got a little bit of a left leg problem, Kingy.
He has just walked in front of me now, Brian. I think it might be some sort of cramp issue in the left calf. If not, it may be a left ankle issue.
Okay, so lower leg for Kyle Hardingham. He does look at some discomfort.
He'll be all right. He'll be back on in a minute.
Looks like the Eagles are getting numbers to the left of screen here. A lot of numbers here go long to Cox and Matt Nuri's, have they?
The umpire was waiting for something to be in play.
Yeah, he's going to go long out the side to the numbers.
Might have been waiting for us, in fact. Opportunity here now for the Eagles at half-back. Strange, isn't it? The Eagles down the line. Looking for Darling. Nat Nui flew. Look at that. Darling off the ground. Hooker went in. Little spinning pirouette move out of trouble. Slattery knocked to Jetta. Clever little deft tap. Got it on to Hooker. Now Lonergan. Cramery was dragged off the ball and got himself a free.
Well, they're winning critical contests this quarter. 21 contested possessions, Essendon. 9 to the Eagles. It's not rocket science. They're winning the ball, the Bombers.
Here comes the lead to the pocket from McVeigh. He's marked it. Now this is a tough pocket for a left footer to kick from. He plays on, the umpire's blown time off, so he can't play on.
look for David Hill and Paddy Ryder about 40 metres out from goal.
Now this is a tough kick because the ball always travels left to right, and he is a left footer. He's going to go the drop punt from the boundary line. He's got to aim at the left post, and it's right across the face and hits the boundary post on the full. Look at Smart. Was it in play? Vay.
Great decision. Just inside.
And flying a winner in the air off hands. Monfries, the sub that's been activated. Watson keeps it alive to a dangerous spot. Remus says, do I or don't I go? He decided to stay down. Disciplined there. As Lonigan trying to thread the needle. It bounced back to him and he caught one high. The umpire closest didn't actually pay the free. It was Hayden Kennedy down the ground. I thought he might have slipped the tackle. Nevertheless, Lonigan's got it. Goes deep into the pocket. Here's Ryder.
Poor play that time from Nat Nui. He ran down with Ryder, then he turned around to have a look. The ball was already in flight, and he got himself lost.
So Paddy Ryder from a real acute angle. Bombers by 13. This would be their biggest lead of the game.
She's flat at the present time, the Eagles.
They
It
do.
just looks as if they've just run out of petrol.
Look like a balloon that has been pricked. As Ryder comes in, misses to the near side, just lacking any oomph at the moment. Certainly lacking the intensity they had in that first half.
Well, they were smashing Essendon in the contested possessions, and it's just they cannot win a critical contest at the moment. And the other thing about the Bombers, it's led by their skipper, Joe Watson, already in this quarter. 7 disposals, 2 clearances, 2 inside 50s, and 4 contested possessions from the skipper.
Hearn. Hoist high to Kennedy.
And that's the difference. Kennedy's normally competing for a mark around the half-forward line because the West Coast Eagles midfielder cannot get their handle on the ball. Their half-forwards have to go into the back half to try and get a position.
Hill goes for the ruck, knocks it down. Scott Selwood out of there. Heppel gets a little back inside 50. Adam Selwood's been knocked out here, I reckon.
Oh, bell changes.
Let's have a listen. Let's listen.
They got pushed into it, guys. Thank you, mate. Just let go, Tom. You're okay.
Good umpiring.
There you go.
Hayden Kennedy.
It's all okay. Yeah, just drop down his feet.
So the umpire says it's all okay. He got pushed into it. So someone else is going to take the free. And there you can see had his head over the ball. Well, Chambers immediately says, I got pushed into that.
By glass, BT.
This is the better shot. Caught him more on the shoulder and the side of the head. A nasty one, nevertheless.
But from a pure football situation, BT, they are now down a bloke who's a runner. And when you go in with so many tools, you just wonder whether or not they've got less flexibility of running blokes through the middle of the ground as part of their, I guess, evening up of the workload.
Do they activate Derek Whedon as the sub? Bombers have already used theirs. Cox goes over the top to Darling. Couldn't hold the mark. Off hands. Did well. Hocking sitting on his backside to Watson. Waited. Ryder goes outside. Here's the run. There's the man that had the injury. Kyle Hardingham gives it backwards to McVeigh. Stumping little ball to Crameri. Crameri has got it on the wing. Immediately loads up the left boot high on the head of Hill. Melksham's the front and centre. In fact, he stole it. Melksham turns around immediately. Over the top to Bell-Chambers. Hearn and Nat Nui got back. Monfries wasn't covered at the ground. Did he get it high? Yes, he did.
Well, he went down just before the tackle. He just dropped the knees. Might have slipped, which made it really impossible to tackle around the hips. But the free kick was there. It was too high.
He will go the right foot banana. Angus Monfries. I would have thought he sets up for the right foot banana. There's the hold of the ball for all those young kids watching. Point of the ball facing towards the goal. Comes around, opens the goal face, and he's kicked the goal. Brilliant skill from Angus Monfries.
One-way traffic from the Bombers. They've maintained their work rate that they finished the half with. And there's just not enough urgency pushing into defence now. The first part of the match, the Eagles were up and back. running into the fence as hard as they were running into the forward line, and now they're just looking for some runners. In fact, they need Lacroix really to have an impact in this match. He's been quiet today, needs to get some footing.
5 unanswered goals this quarter. Contested possessions that Kerr's only had the one disposal. Cox, Nui, Lacroix. I think I'm with you, Jared. Changed up a little bit. He wasn't firing up in the forward line. They just cannot get a handle on the ball, the Eagles.
Cox to Kerr had a fiddle and a faddle and a fumble there. Cramery kept it rolling. Jetta a little help forward. Now Shepherd's got it all to do. He was a late inclusion in this side today at the expense of Mackenzie. Kept it alive. Smith and got net high. In the meantime, Kerr got slammed into the ground.
And this is the difference. We knew that West Coast dominated the game, but they didn't hit the scoreboard.
Yep.
Now Essendon dominating this quarter footy. They're hitting the scoreboard. 14 inside 50s, 8 scoring shots.
5 goals. Kerr to half forward. Over the back, the big thump away. And once again, into negative territory. The fans in the back rows there applaud.
Really done the job here. Heath Hocking on Daniel Kerr in the clearance situations. No clearances this quarter, and he was the generator in the first half.
Cox over the back, brilliant. Rosa on the run. Long ball inside 50. Got to beat 2 though. Fletcher had them in the sandwich. It was Darling in that sandwich, and now Hooker comes out quickly, doesn't it? Have a look at Howlett. Size him up. He goes extremely wide to Hill. Too wide.
It's difficult to score now because Fletcher is on his own, and then you've got the wingers dropping back as well. There's Dustin Fletcher. He's just standing in front of the cue stick and the Koski. So
it's rule number 1 for mine against the Bombers and the Pies. You've got to make Maxwell play one-on-one, and against the Bombers, you've got to make Fletcher play one-on-one.
Isn't it really rule number 1 in footy? You can no longer have the loose back. You've got to man him up.
Scarlett's the other one, Jared.
Well, I think it's going to end up that way, BT. And the more we see this, here we go again.
There it is. There's the perfect example.
I mean, they're winning the ball around the stoppage. We understand that, but I think Busher has got to back in his group in the one-on-one at stoppages now, because they're just getting rebounded out and exposed in the forward line.
You can see Kerr on the bottom of the picture. He's pretty well knackered and run out of gas.
A trip against Rumours.
So Butler will get the 3, but you can see Kerr and Hocking and that match-up that David kicked.
There's a report here, boys, for tripping, intentional tripping by feet of Kyle Remus on Butler.
I'm reporting for tripping, okay? Just wait.
Just get on with it, mate. So Kyle Remus. Too worried about that. Here is Embley now on the axis point here.
And you're right with the Fletcher 3. It's not a coaching issue. The players just haven't won the ball this quarter. So they need to get their hands on the ball, the Eagles.
Let's have a look at that trip that Remus got reported for. I think in the end he was already committed to the ground. And
no, I think there's a trip there, BT, but I think it'll be points only, if anything.
Yeah. Lacroix, Prittis, Watson in hard and heavy and low. Lonigan extracts. Monfries and Shepherd. Monfries a very good player. He's a dangerous forward. Gathers cleanly. Love that about him. Gave it to Leroy. Look at the evasive footwork from Leroy Jetta. Got the give and go. Didn't know what to do. He was cool and went wide and couldn't quite execute the foot pass.
Well, Shepherd just has to do better than that. He's back in the team today. Sparty's been in and out this season. It was pretty impressive at times last year, but his intensity and work rate there is not good enough to keep him in the team.
Look at the Bomber fans off their seats.
The intensity, we talked about the intensity early. There's only been 8 tackles in this third quarter. And that, to me, sends a message that it's an uncontested game and the Bombers are running off their legs.
Shuey drives it long without gate direction. Making ground Darling. Hand up Slattery. Nikoski at ground level. Even it was, I'm sorry. Now it comes out to Nat Nui. Lacroix lurking dangerously. Hooker got it back into field in play for the Eagles. Prittis got rid of it in the nick of time. Bell Chambers got it out, but only as far. This time as Kerr. He plays on immediately, got some help in the way of a Shepherd. Lines up from 55, low ball to the near side, won't get there. Kept alive. All Slattery went back inside dangerously. Picks it up, Melksham. Blasts away, here's Embley. They're pressing here, the Eagles. Can they capitalise on the scoreboard?
Yeah, what they're not doing though, BT, which they did early, was now athletically push up.
They fly for the mark. Off hands. Kept it alive, and a rush behind is a good result for the Bombers in the end.
So the Eagles are now being outnumbered by about 5-2 at these stoppages because they're out of juice, Spud. They're just not working anywhere near as hard as they were initially.
No, that's, again, the lack of tackling pressure. Well, early on, every time Essendon got the ball, it was either a tackle or someone corralling them. And Essendon, look at this, just running out far too easily. That wasn't happening in the first half.
Watson couldn't get it. Embley did the sensible thing and worked it to the boundary.
Let's just have a look at this work from Shepherd, which I talked about. Now he's on him, he's got him covered, he's corralling him, and then it's just, I mean, that's just not good enough. That had to be a dead ball.
At least had to corral him to the boundary line. Far too easy.
Lynch. Hurley, Lynch. Hurley won it. Fletcher, McVeigh. Here they go through the middle. Overkick by McVeigh. Rosa intelligent knock to Prentice. They can share it here. Prentice feigns to go on his left and he's missed it badly in the end, and Rosa says, what about me? Did not get it on the inside. Prentice said he backed his left foot.
Just looking at the rotations in the third quarter, boys, I think they're tiring because they haven't had enough rest in this third term. Only the 20 for the Eagles, close enough to 30 for the Bombers.
They're out here, the Bombers. Picked up by Hocking, Bell-Chambers, Reamers, kick 3 in the quarter. Left foot around the corner wasn't great. Glass, Kerr, the counter-attack's on. Can the Bombers get back quickly enough here? Kerr penetrating run down the middle. He doesn't want to go sideways. Went to a 2-on-1. Kennedy's got to work. Punch down. Boy, talk about aerial ping pong here. Hocking just sends that one long with a mongrel punt.
Good
Cox over the back. Did really well. And the Eagles get another chance. And in front, nice mark taken by Shepherd. Oh, gee, Selwood ran past the ball, didn't get it back for him as he should have immediately. Kerr comes off just to the right-hand pitcher there, and he is exhausted. He has run his guts out. Shepherd, in the meantime, looks for Lynch. But it's a 3-on-1, 4-on-1, 5-on-1. Picked up by Heppel in the end. And the numbers running thin for the Eagles.
Just to pick up on your rotation number, Kingy, because it's certainly looking as if one side is flagging athletically. When you go in with 5 tools as they did in their forward line, that's robbing them of that flexibility to rotate numbers through the middle as well, even if they're on the ground.
And I think you need to rotate the tools off when you're really struggling like this to get the ball out of your back half. Maybe get your runners down there and see if you can generate a bit more counter-attack.
3 minutes left in the quarter. Been a ripper for the Bombers. They've kicked all 5 goals. The Eagles haven't got a crack up. Melksham along the ground, but it's coming back. Smith's kick was hurried. And out of bounds on the full. So no goals in this quarter for the West Coast Eagles. Hurley at half-back. There's the safe option. 2-on-2 here. Riders in amongst it. Smith, fast hands out the back. Now Ebert's got to do it. Tight on the boundary line, kept it alive. But Monfries will gather cleanly. He immediately kicks long. Glasses there. Remus has got to beat them, and he didn't. Got knocked out of the way by Selwood. It was good play by him to protect Glass. Little kick back inside to Hearn. To go up the middle. Eagles have got some loose players right in the middle of the circle. They ignore those. Here's Nikoski, plays on the left boot, extremely wide to Lynch. Fletcher doing really well. 36 years of age, this man.
BT, I want you to tell me whether this is a throw or not. The player gets the ball, he's got it in one arm. Now the umpire is 3 metres away. He throws that in the air, and the umpire looks and says that is legitimate disposal.
He had a better view than you and I, Jared, and we could clearly see it was a throw.
Now, we had this out with Jeff Geeson at the start of the year about the throw that's being allowed into the game. Even if you're under pressure, you've still got to dispose of the ball correctly. Let's have another look.
There it is. One
Perfect
hand's
tackle.
tied up.
Perfect tackle.
Couldn't have been a handball because the other one was simply tied up and out of view. There was Leroy Jetta. And they've gone forward many times like this, but it's been a 2-on-1, and more times than not, this man here, the skipper, has marked it.
Like to win for the Bombers because West Coast are 3 goals behind.
So it's the 29-minute mark now. They scored their last goal, the Bombers, at the 18-minute mark. And basically, the Eagles have owned that period of time, but haven't scored.
Well, Brian, they've gone in 11 times for not a goal, the Eagles.
Gee.
So, and even when Essendon early on, they only went in sort of like 18 times in the first half, yet they kicked 8 goals. So they were still hitting the scoreboard, the Bombers.
Shepherd kicks another one out of bounds on the full.
Just lacking a little bit of composure now. A few of the youngsters for the Eagles under pressure.
Been a pretty powerful statement by the Bombers. They were flat early and they were forced to play pretty ordinary footy by the Eagles, who were red hot.
Team gets asking the boundary umpire where it crossed the line. He knew. Why did we have to ask him? Over the top, high ball. Nat Nui didn't intend to mark the ball, but just the magic of Nat Nui meant he did. He's got Zaharakis on his toes now. There's another throw. The umpire's let it go again. Boy, here's Eben. Zaharakis of the Bombers score from here. Love it, Murray. Through traffic, Hocking. They're setting up to go. Deliberate underground handball by Watson was superb. It comes to Melchin. Laying off his Hill. Now he's got the one-on-one with Kramer if he wants. He's going to go long. Howard getting back to the square. Hill pumps it long. A 55-metre kick. Wonderful play from Hill and the Bombers.
Terrific play. Great transference of play. They were very lucky anyway there. As we look to here, Nat Nui's a terrific tackle from Zaharakis. The first one wasn't, but the second one was. It was a double right-handed fister, so it was always going to be a throw. Joe Watson, what a quarter he's had. He's had 11 disposals, 2 inside 50s. This is just a monster kick. I think he looked at the open goal square and thought, why not? We thought he was going for Howlett, but that is just a super kick. 6 unanswered goals in the premiership quarter, led by their skipper Joe Watson with 11, Randers 3. And there's David Hill, Ryder, Bell Chambers. They've all hit the scoreboard today. The 3 tools from the Bombers.
So what have the Eagles got? We're down to 30 seconds here, so they're not going to do probably a lot of damage, although they have a chance. Under 30 seconds. Cox is going to kick it long, and he finds an opportunity here. Couldn't mark it on that occasion, Selwood. Nikoski working hard. We're down to 15 seconds. The Bombers defending. A lot of importance on this kick here. Lonigan senses the time. The Bomber runner is out there saying 14 seconds, 14 seconds. And he'll hold the ball and deliver wide. Great control. The Bombers kicked 6 goals in that quarter. David King with a quick word.
Well, I just wonder what the impact of the sub was there, Brian. 8 disposals to Angus Monfries, who was the sub for the Bombers. Yet the Eagles, who are out of run, still keep weeding on the pine.
Bombers by 24. Join us in just a moment for the last quarter.
Unanswered goals to the Bombers. The Eagles went in 12 times for 0 goals.
24-point lead of the Bombers starting this last quarter. Have the Eagles got anything in the tank? It's their first visit to Victoria this year, the new and improved Eagles. And they've got 20 minutes to sort it out, plus. The activated sub there, Whedon on, Ebert off, the red vest. Must wear that red vest at all time, even if you go down to have a shower. Got to leave the vest on these days, Spud, even in the shower or spa.
In the showers as well.
Yes, absolutely. Just in case the umpire comes down and checks to see where you are. There's Fletcher. Gathering last line of defence. Dangerous handball, but he's got a free.
So runner for runner in the substitute, King. Are you surprised?
I am surprised. I just think they needed to make a decision to get more run onto the field. I'm not sure that helps you or impacts your ability to cover the ground.
Hooker. Long handball out of trouble. Here go the Bombers with this possession. Zaharakis been exciting at times. Kick around the corner to Belchambers, who got pushed under the ball.
Much improved player. He's going to mark the ball, and Glass had to give a free kick away to allow the ball to go under.
Definitely proving he can play up forward with this guy here, Hill as well. Picked up by Monfries. He was a sub activated in the third quarter. That's a penetrating ball to Cramery.
Too good in the air. And they're getting just turned around now, the Eagles.
Really got the best hands in the business, Cramery. You just knew when the ball was going near his hands. Once his hands hit leather, it just sticks.
For a 30-point lead, Cramery for his third goal. 10 metres out. He kicks the goal. Cramery's got 3. Bombers by 30.
Great turnaround by the Bombers. I reckon James Hird might have just lifted the tone of his voice at half-time, but they have been fantastic in their work rate because it's been much more consistent than the Eagles, who were brilliant for the first quarter and a half. They started the flag, and right now we're looking for some sort of response by the Eagles because it's just all one-way traffic. And I think what's exacerbated their midfield problem is that they've got 2 ruckmen rather than 1 and 3.
Cramery kicks his third goal. The West Coast Eagles' last goal coming at the 31-minute mark of the second quarter. We're now in the final quarter. Hill. Cox, clearance out of the middle. Whedon almost threw it out. They got that one. Incorrect disposal. And Garrick Whedon. This is his first game of football today. Whedon. Knocked away by Adam Selwood. Watson on the front centre to Lovett. Murray nurses it around the corner. Good position here was Butler. Could do not much about the Monfries at the back. Cramery, left foot. That's his favoured side. Kicks around and misses.
15 goals so far this year, Cramery. Clean at ground level as well. He's just a very hard matchup. You play someone tall on him,
tall or small, do you?
He'll go up the ground and play as an extra midfielder. You play a mid-range play, James Hird walks that direct opponent back to the goal square.
Well, he's got some moves, that is for sure. Nat Nui gave it to Kerr, who was always under bomber pressure there. There's Hill. Around the corner, wobbly old thing. Belchambers.
I just don't see how they can continue to support the 2 ruckmen as midfielders role because they're getting flogged in the middle for run.
I agree, and that's where Lacroix and even Nikoski at this stage need to come into the game. They've lost belief, they've lost hope. And you look at the Eagle tools, they just can't cover the ground.
And this hurts when Dean Cox just gives a free kick away. A show of strength, but it was far too early. Belchambers threw into the ground and lining up for goal number 3. 2, sorry.
Tom Belchambers will kick from 48 metres out. Slidey Shangle comes in. It wasn't a great smooth run-up, was it? That's the Lloyd into the ground that he was kicking out. By the way, they've renamed both ends here, the Lloyd and the Fletcher end, which I think is just simply not on. I think it's disrespectful to the Lockett and Coventry names that were already there. I know it's their home game, but I do not like it. You don't change names of stands once you've named them. Over the top, Watson. I wouldn't imagine the man up there in Barrel, Tony Lockett, would be too happy about it, Spud.
No, he wouldn't be, Brian. And look, the one thing about Plugger, he was chuffed to get his name up there. But I can't see the thinking of it. No. Probably for sponsorship, membership, maybe, but nothing. I'm with you, Brian.
Yeah. Whedon, here he is, the first gamer. Cramery falls to his feet, gets back over. Prittis dives on it. Got him in the back. Incorrect tackle. I like the way the umpires have adjudicated that this year, that you still must tackle correctly. It just can't fall on their backs when they've got the ball underneath them.
You didn't have a grandstand named after you, Brian, did you, at Vic Park? Is that why there's...
No, the Sheridan stand's there, and it's still there. It's not named the Taylor stand at all. Cramery's.
Oh, just keep on it, that's all. I thought there may have been some underlying issues there, that's all.
No. Once you're named, Ponsford stand or Southern
I'm
stand
with you.
or
I'm with
whatever
you.
it is. It stays for me.
Maybe at Manda is there, Mark.
Maybe I'm a little old-fashioned, Spud.
No, I'm with you.
Shepherd kicking the ball back into play. Hardingham a punch away.
Don't like agreeing with you that often, but I'll have to on this occasion.
That man there, Kyle Hardingham, has been
One of the moves of the year, hasn't it, to make him a defender?
Yeah, absolute revelation. He didn't have a great tank. That's why they did that, Jared. That's why they played him forward last year, because they didn't think he could play in the midfield because of his tank. The defence has been good for him.
Just looking to see where the Eagles are going to get their next goal from. Goalless in the second half.
Rosa
Pushing Cox forward.
down the line. Have the Eagles got to yelp it all here in this last half, because they're yet to kick a goal in this last half.
And that's the great disappointment, because at halftime it was looming as the great Mother's Day classic, and at the moment it's been classical for the Bombers, the way they've responded and come forward and kicked themselves into what was looking like a winning score.
Yeah, it was 8 goals to 9 at halftime. The West Coast way. Hurley. That was the third quarter for the Bombers. It's got them in the position where they're 32 up now. And here they go again. Look at the kick. It drew Watson to the ball. It was magnetic. Watson says, come at me. I can't kick long. Centres to Hill. And Hill marks directly in front.
Well, that was a terrific lead, Brian. Hill and Hocking worked that beautifully. They crossed paths and it left Kerr versus Hill and Glass versus Hocking. That was great team play.
It was brilliant running from Hill, who worked hard down to defence, about 20 metres defensive side of their forward 50 to cover Cox. And then on the rebound, he just charged forward, Spud.
Hill for his second goal, that one offline.
And it's probably got a little bit to do with Kingy and yourself been talking about, Jared. The Hills run it.
Well, that's not his starting position, because he was 40 metres behind that initially, but he's off.
It gets back to the Eagles staying on the ground, not having a spell, and then the Essendon Ruckmans having a spell on the bench, being able to do that.
Rosa down the ground, Kennedy over the top, nice mark.
Lynch has pushed hard forward.
Still 3 on 2 though.
Lynch and Heppel should get him, Lynch, and he does.
I'm not sure what Dustin Fletcher was doing there, Jerry, because he was the free man. Surely he had to pick up Lynch and allow Heppel, one of the smaller mid-range Essendon defenders, as we see. Yeah, so Fletcher wasn't in screen, but he was in the goal square on his own.
And the mouth guard comes out. I like how it goes into the sock rather than the jocks that we saw still side bottom do last week, Jared.
Marginally more hygienic.
Yes, I would have thought so. Here comes Lynch. Kick at goal, has got it. So the Eagles have got a little bit left yet. 27 points down they are.
We'll just have a look here. They go forward again. Now, Dustin Fletcher's the tallest out of these defenders. And you just see Fletcher there, the left of screen. And he had to be aware that Heppel, playing only 6 game of league football, allow him to be free. And he was just guarding nothing in the end there, Dustin. So he'd be pretty disappointed in that effort. But Quinton Lynch kicking 2 goals. Centre clearance crucial for the Eagles.
There's the mouth guard back out of the socket into the mouth. The glove back on, and he's ready to go again, Lynch. And it's added some life into this one. 27 down.
And back to 6 forwards for the West Coast Eagles, with Nat Nui now gone to 4 forward, which is where they started at, making Fletcher play man on man.
Watson gets a crucial centre bounce. A nice kick down the middle. Glass to tidy it up off his shoelaces. Keeps it rolling forward. Well done. Darren Glass there. Did really well. The skipper. And in the end, Schofield assisted it over the line.
They've had less rotations in the second half here, the Eagles. And when you look at the bench, it has Embley, Kerr and Smith, 3 runners on the bench. By comparison, Essendon have got Hill, a ruckman on the bench. I just can't work out the strategy there, boys.
Cheddar. There's Glass. High ball, over the top, Lovett Murray. Whedon went in low, but Lovett Murray came out. Kennedy haven't given up the Eagles. There's a bit of urgency about them here at the moment.
Well, they've got some upside in my craft. It's been a long time coming for him to get involved, and it's proving that lightning doesn't strike twice. But I mean, he's such a quality player. You'd reckon he's going to have an impact at some stage today. Well, he's got about 20 minutes to make his mark.
Well, he's only had the 7 disposals. But he's one type of player, Jared, that the concentration factor in a guy like that, you just drop off 10% on your concentration, he'll hurt you on the scoreboard.
Selwood.
2 on 1.
Down the line, Darling is the one. Wright is one of the 2.
Scott Selwood's been a pretty good player today. He's running the bench with Joe Watson.
But defended well on young Jack Darling too, Jared. Only the 7 disposals. NAB Rising Star nomination last week.
She's a good player in his play.
Shocking, yeah.
Tough he is.
Look at the kick to Melcham. Put out the one hand. Probably could have marked it on his chest in the end. Takes Shuey on. Falls to the ground out of bounds. You just wonder where the spark, either 1 or 2 players, is going to come for the Eagles, don't you? Those game-breaker players like Aremas that could possibly do something here in this next couple of minutes for them.
Since they curtailed Kerr's influence in the first half, that's been one highly significant factor. Matt Priddis hasn't also had much influence in this second half. Rose has had a bit of the ball, but all their running players just have dropped right off since half-time.
Adam Selwood bangs into his teammate Priddis, and Remus over-energetic, got him in the back.
It's kind of the next level in their development, isn't it? With Kerr getting 14 disposals in the first quarter.
Boy. They had the fumble and they had the cycle. That's a brilliant kick from Schofield to go under, because if he'd gone the normal kick, it would have been smothered off the boot for sure. Well done, Will Schofield. One out of the Geelong Falcons down there with Mick Turner and the boys. Here's Lacroix and a 50-metre penalty. Here's going to bring Lacroix to half forward. The Essendon fans don't like it. There's just a nervousness about them at the moment, because if they get the next one here, the Eagles, they are very much back in the hunt. Lacroix, here comes the lead from Kennedy. The Eagles, Jared, I'm sensing it. They're starting to come forward.
Well, sometimes you can get too far in front, B2, where you're that comfortable, Spud, you just start to actually not quite do the things that got you in front. And we saw there the defence from the Bombers was just a stationary zone. No one was actually guarding space. They were just guarding a little bit of grass under their legs.
Well, look at the space he was allowed to lead into. That's a drop-off from the midfield, not guarding that hole.
Now, this guy was the last guy to kick a goal for the West Coast Eagles. 31-minute mark of that second quarter, and he's missed here.
2 goals, 3. And the 3 behinds have been all set shots. Last year he just would have nailed those.
So Fletcher with the kick back into play. Bombers are starting to get that scoring curve, Jared, working there. Sorry, the West Coast working their way just a little. They need one here to finish it. They're pressing. Embley lets it go. Long ball, fighting Cox. No free.
Great positioning, Dustin Fletcher. The ball had been a little bit high from Embley. He was in trouble, but he just held his line beautifully there, Fletcher.
Mark taken by Hill, got the runners forward of the ball. Watson comes back, should have been for the Shepherd. Hill, Montfree's intelligent, goes wide, got the Melcham, went back inside Montfree's, now Melcham. Good build up here from the Bombers. The kick by Melcham is great. Zaharakis.
Great play. Just ran in numbers. They worked it through beautifully. Melcham was the one forward of the ball. Watson and Hill were aware of that, so they knew they always had to get out short handball. But again, under pressure on the boundary line, just in front of the Essendon coach's box, 60 metres out, looking board, there's Zaharakis.
David Zaharakis for his second goal. Comes in and misses to the right. The run-up was off 2 or 3 steps and never looked fluent or comfortable. So the Eagles breathe a sigh of relief. They've got to get cracking because they've got exactly 9 minutes and 28 seconds to trim the 26-point margin, which I might add is nothing in modern footy. Hearn goes wide, Nat Nui marks.
They need to play on if they can, the Eagles.
Got to play risky footy here now. Over the back, Hurley with a mean thump of the ball and then a push on Selwood to say, get out of my way. And McVeigh in there as well. Bombers lots of numbers to the left-hand side of that stoppage. Embley working extremely hard in there. Watson eventually comes out. By the belt. Nikoski got Hocking right in the guts with a left lower hook. Have a look at that on replay.
It did look as if it was more of a retaliatory punch, BT. But
It was definitely the second, but it was there. Bang! Left hook. Gee, I'd be proud of that, Jared. That was magnificent. No damage done. No half caused.
Show anything else.
Monfries told the play on. I thought he had the juggling, attempted it and got it. Hocking advanced it, but only as far as Hearn.
Ball in the right hands, the counter-attack.
Now, can they go? Or are they going to be held by this Bombers defence?
Oh, just look at the numbers in the middle, BT. They are plodding the Eagles midfielders.
Well, Daniel Kerr's the 1-2. Heath Hocking's on Daniel Kerr in the middle of the ground. He's just running up and down the one spot.
You do get a bit of a feeling if they can break through this lock at the moment, the Eagles, they can score a few. Over the top went Darling, comes to Lynch, run down by Fletcher and out of bounds.
Did it well to actually grab the ball along the line. Would you try Jack Darling in the middle? I know he just looks like he's got a. There's the double punch there for the boys. Jack Darling looks as if he's got a tank.
He's got a firm guts. It just bounced off. Monfries. It might have been pulled on contact. Who knows?
Just
The
shows
Jack Darling one's an interesting one, Jared.
he's a smart player. I'm not sure if he can be smart in the forward line and not be able to go through the midfield. It would seem hand in hand to me.
Well, Hardingham's been terrific on him today. Done a great job.
Heppel just got rid of it. In fact, he didn't get rid of it in time. Now, let's have a look at this, because he says he handled it. He's stunned, but he does look a little sheepish, I might add. Let's have a look at this. There's the tackle by Selwood. Locks one arm away.
Spot on umpire.
There's one of those little throws, Gerald.
It's the throw.
And the kick at goal misses to the right-hand side. Perfect call by the umpire there. One hand locked, and he just let it go. That's incorrect disposal.
Surprising Dyson was amused by it.
It was more of a con job than anything, but the decision had already been made. Schofield sees it and almost ended up in one of those mothers there on Mother's Day.
33,631. It's a good attendance from the Bombers, given it's Mother's Day.
Yep, it is. The AFL don't like scheduling tournament games on Mother's Days because they're fearful of the low crowds as a result of it. Men have to give up the day for their mums, Jared. I know they don't like doing it, but they do have to do it. And Spud refuses to. He just comes to the footy regardless. Hurley.
You can have that on your roster.
Never been one for Mother's Day, Spud.
Look, I've got 3 daughters at home as well, Brian, and a lovely wife Anita, but yeah, look, it's a great celebration, I suppose.
McVeigh sputtered his most insincere. Fletcher on half-back, chooses one wide the hill.
Hello, Mum, if you're listening. She'll be at home watching, Brian.
Yes, he will.
Surely.
Just to get you out of this mess, Brian. The key stat here is that the Eagles have kicked 1 goal in a half of footy.
Oh, big fly by Remus.
Jeez, that's a big one.
It is a sensational mark from Kyle Remus, who kicked 3 in the third quarter. Bangs it forward. Paddy Ryder got one hand on it. He almost tried to kick that in front of Jetta to run onto it. Over the line, out of bounds here now. Let's have a look at this mark from Kyle Remus. Up over the top with Butler. Great grab.
A lot of goals scored from stoppages today as a percentage.
Time running out here now for the Eagles. Picked up by Zahra Rakus. Howlett got him on the tackle. He certainly didn't dispose of it correctly. Prittis inside the run of Whedon. Nice little kick, finds Nat Nui. Kennedy didn't see the man lurking on his right. Brilliant handball from Nat Nui to Whedon. Let's see the evasive skills of Whedon. Kicked around the corner. The craft for the mark has got it.
Well done. McRae, you just got through there.
To get it back to 19 points with just under 6 remaining. That's plenty of time, Spud.
Oh, it is. Great play, Garrick Whedon, too, in his first game. Showed some composure there.
Mark LaCroix for his second goal. He's only 25 metres out. Comes in, makes sure of it, got it. The Eagles are back in business. They're down 19.
Down 19, not insurmountable, Spud. We know that. The only problem with the logic is that they've kicked 2 goals in a quarter in 20 minutes. But we've seen stranger things happen. If they get a couple of quick breaks from the centre, then all of a sudden they start to believe again that they can win this match, which I suspect has been missing for about half an hour.
Well, we saw the game last night. Brisbane, Gold Coast. It was goals scored, 7 goals in 8 minutes last night. It can happen.
Yes, well, they're down 19 points. We saw the Bombers kick 4 goals in 8 minutes in the third quarter. They've got 5.5 minutes here to kick 4 goals.
Oh, look at the clearance.
Nat Nui, Hardingham.
Well, he's asleep there, Nikoski. Should have been in front.
Boy, whereas Pritis there looked not so lively either. Melksham gives it off to Hocking. Hocking from inside the centre square. Hoists the long ball out of bounds.
John Worsfold won't be happy with that. Nat Nui, clean centre bounce. You've got your half forwards on your back foot. They should have been like a cricketer when the bowler's rolling in on the front foot, but on the back foot, and Essendon ran the ball out.
It was as if Nikoski had no idea that it was a possibility.
Gee.
Musty in front as a forward.
Basic thing, wasn't it?
Well, they cleared the space. He did the right thing, got the good bounce. Something to work on, though. It's a real... I think there's so much upside for the West Coast Eagles with this bloke who you can almost, like Sandlands, guarantee he's going to win most 50-50 bounces.
Glass has paid the free here for a knock of the arms. So the West Coast need to rebound and do it quickly, but they can't find a way out easily. I reckon we've got to bring it to this side of the ground where we are quickly and take a bit of a risk.
There's the open side.
Yep.
You're right. Get the handball out the back from the stoppage and then cut to the open side of the ground.
All of the players in this 1/3 portion of the ground where the ball is being thrown in at the moment, bar a couple. Pritis, Selwood, picked up by Watson. Out of bounds. So valuable seconds ticking off the clock here for the Bombers.
31 disposals, 15 of those contested. 9 clearances, 2 goals, 6 tackles, 5 inside 50s. Another terrific game from the Essendon skipper.
Back into play. Opportunity here. Along the ground will be a free kick and will go the West Coast way.
This is where they're struggling, Jared. There's no one really bursting out of this congestion here to give an option clear on the wings or to get an uncontested mark. This is why a player like Andrew Gaff should never leave the side, even if it is just as a substitute.
Well, there's no doubt, Kingy, they've got a lot of things right so far this year, the Eagles, including this bloke. Gaff's another one, but they're down on tank. And they're going to have to just work out the best compromise between their tools and getting enough run in to be able to sustain it with the big boys.
Just trying to do it here in this play with tools down the line, and as you say, Jared, devoid of run at the moment, the Eagles.
I mean, I think you look at some of even their half-backs and their half-forwards, they're not midfield types, and they're not hard-running types.
Nat Nui coming from behind, worked his way to the front. Hill did well. He's desperate for the ground-level ball. So was Kerr in there. He realises the urgency of the situation. He tries to fire his boys up.
But they've come an enormous way, the Eagles.
Oh, they have. And they've drew that first half again.
So too of the opposition.
Absolutely, 2 of the most improved in the business. There go the Eagles. Can they get it out the back door? Glass has found a way forward. Oh, Shuey, you've got to mark that ball. You must mark that ball. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Hardingham, Monfree's desperate lunge. Shot it out the back door, and that's a throw. Umpire pinged Monfree for a throw, so a let off for the Eagles.
Only a young player, Luke Shuey, and he's had some big games. This isn't one of them, only touched it 14 times. And he's a player that will just get...
Have a look at that wrestle going on while the play goes on. Unbelievable stuff. High ball in comes Cox. He got a bit of a push from behind.
Cox.
Pritis got boot to the ball. Point.
She's a good tackle in the finish.
Yeah, it was a great tackle. It was a good effort from Cox because he was out of position, but he just opened up the pack.
He's played a ripper, Spud. This bloke, the captain, has played a beauty.
He was only conceded 2 goals leading into today's game.
just gone off the ground glass as a result of that wrestle. Took all the juice out of him. He sat down immediately, he came off.
Glass fully empty.
Yep, absolutely. Here's Hill. So minutes ticking away, down to 3 minutes here. 18 points, 3 goals.
Need a man up here, the Eagles, forcing to keep long down the line.
Hill goes short, Hearn in front. Did well to keep it alive. And we'll throw it in right where Darren Glass is resting on the boundary there, as you can see. He just decides he'll move back a little bit from the boundary line.
Watch from that now, he try and hit this forward again.
Cox third man up. Howlett. Prittis. Rosa wanted some help from Shuey, didn't come. Rosa keeps it alive back inside. Here's Darling. Through some traffic. Evasive skills good. Handball great. McCoskey on his preferred side. Centres a high ball in. Now Lynch is there. Got the set. The Kras there. The ammo's there. It's over the back. Went to ground. Fletcher desperate. 36 years of age. Behaving like an 18-year-old jumping after that ball.
Lynch, he had the position and then just lost his footing. Big cue stick.
Just thinking the way Darling moves, but there's no way known he couldn't play midfield. I saw Carey play midfield, Jonathan Brown's played midfield, and with Pavlich, the way they just need to share the workload for rotations. Be worth an experiment at some stage.
The modern-day forward can certainly go forward, and the modern-day mum looking after the kids today. Where's Dad? She says to the kids. Going to get a beer, I reckon. Mother's Day. Thoroughly enjoying it here at Etihad Stadium today.
So, most people would consider Geelong the second best side in the competition. We're going to find out where they're at for this year next week, but Collingwood take on Geelong. Who's the third best, BT? Are we looking at them right now?
The Bombers right on form at the moment, you would have to say so. I reckon Hawthorn have dropped off since the first 3 or 4 weeks of the year, Gerard. So I think you would have to say the Bombers. And then
2011 form, they're the standouts for me.
And then you look at Carlton, perhaps haven't improved as dramatically as the Bombers, but certainly improved to the point where they're competing for a top 3 or 4 spot.
Well, if they win tomorrow night, the Blues, that'll really give them a game buffer from the top 4 down to the bottom 8. So
this win gets the Bombers into 3rd position, of course, on the ladder, which doesn't mean a lot with Pies in it at the moment. But against you, Michael Hilly, umpire Dean Marquette's calling him Michael Hilly. I remember you calling him Hilly, Spud. It's David Hill. In comes Embley, sends it home, and he's just missed.
Again, you'd look at this game, and look, the West Coast have improved as well. But again, when you've got momentum, you've got to hit the scoreboard. That's what John Horswell will be telling his players after the game. We didn't take the opportunities. Essendon stayed in the game. And when they've had momentum, they've really hit the scoreboard hard in the second half.
Lynch, little handle out the side to Kennedy, who was stripped by Fletcher. Boy, I say it time and time again, 36 years of age and making tackles like that. McVeigh, Embley, Bell-Chambers clobbered him, picked up by Schofield, nursed the ball. Didn't quite get what he wanted out of it. And now the Bombers. So she's all over here down to the last 40 seconds of the game. Adam Selwood takes the mark. And the short ball here to Schofield. So this will bring Will within kicking range and will definitely trim the margin here. So a 50-metre penalty against Leroy Jetta. And it looks like the Eagles are going to finish with their 3rd straight goal. It's a small 50. Leroy Jetta discusses with Hayden Kennedy. He says, have a look up there. Hayden says, I don't want to look up there. Schofield comes in. Hasn't kicked a goal this year. Plays down back. He's got this one through, though. The Eagles have finished with 3 straight goals. 8 seconds on the clock. And they're just 10 points down.
Well, what I've seen in this game, West Coast are going to win more games than they lose against the bottom-run teams, because they've lost the 3 games. They're going to lose this game. They've only lost 7 points to Hawthorn, 13 points to Sydney, and 10 to the Bombers at Etihad. So that, to me, is an improvement. They still won't be happy with that they've got beaten, but this time last year they would have got blown out of the water halfway during this last quarter, but they've had the fight to come back and at least make Essendon play their best to win this game of footy.
Just 3 second-half goals, all coming here late in the last quarter for the West Coast Eagles. Out of the middle, time ticking, siren sounds. Hill takes the mark directly in front. And will he go back and kick this goal? The Bombers have won. It's just a matter of the margin now. They stand and applaud this for a 16-point Bomber win. Hill comes in and some little bit of cream on the cake. The Bomber fans lift further out of their seats and they've got home by 16 points. And James Hird very happy with what he's seen today. A fantastic win by the Essendon Football Club over a gallant West Coast Eagles. 16-10-106 to the West Coast, 12-18-90. And the fans very excited, not very excited about the umpires here, but yet to see them affect a game or a result this year, or in fact for a long, long time. Let's go down to David King.